Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's podcast broadcast of This Week in Science. I'm here with Philip, our guest host. He was the patient earlier, but apparently he's changed that in his title. I am so glad that you're all here at the beginning of the show so that I can tell you this is not actually the beginning of the show. This is the part of the show that is live as the beginning, but will be cut out for the podcast. So, if you're a podcast listener or you really like things edited a little bit better than the live thing as it happens, make sure that you leave now. No, that you subscribe to our podcast wherever you can find it. We are all over the place in those podcast directories. But this is also where I say we're going to start the show. Everything from here on out is the show. You ready, Philip?
Yeah, bring it.
Yeah. Everybody out there. Okay, we're ready. Let's do this. Bum-ba. Wait, you don't do like a truck driving thing if you're flying a plane or okay, moving out. Yes. Here
That'd
we
be
go.
cool. Yeah.
Da, da, da. We are not checking mic. Is the mic good? Did I do it right? I just checked my mic because I feel like I had to. Was that the right mic?
Oh, interesting. Actually, I
Is
don't
that
think
correct?
tap that
Sometimes.
mic.
Nope.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 la, 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 la. That's better.
Yeah.
That's Paul, thank you so much. You save me every time. It's all of you who help out so much. This is why we edit the show and why there is an edited podcast. But for fun, this is why we have fun liveness. So welcome and thank you for being here. It is time to start this show in 3, 2. This is TWIS. This Week in Science, episode number 1057, recorded on Wednesday, May 6th, 2026. Science de Mayo. Mayo. Well, hey everyone, I'm Dr. Kiki. Thank you for being here. And today we will fill your head with sky plastic, fish filth, and baby yawns. But first, disclaimer. What kind of legacy does a great mind leave when it shifts from this mortal coil? What is left after all has been done and said? What remains of the hopes and dreams when people remember the man that had been? Is it the buildings, the centers, the labs, the papers? Is it the many presentations upon so many stages that leave the rest of humanity to guess what would have been done next? Or is it the students, the colleagues, the nemesis and friends? Will those who speak now forever create the space you inhabit in our minds? Or is it what is said here on This Week in Science? Coming up next.
I've got the kind of mind that can't get enough. I wanna learn everything. I wanna fill it all up with new discoveries that happen every day of the week. There's only one place to go to find the knowledge I seek. I wanna know what's happening. What's happening? What's happening this week in science? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening this week in science?
Good science, everyone. Welcome to another episode of This Week in Science. So good to be back for another week with you. Thank you for joining us. We've got a great show ahead. And tonight, joined by my guest co-host, straight from the land of What the If, filmmaker and documentarian Philip Shane. How are you?
I'm good, Kiki. This is a real honor. It's very exciting and a little bit strange for me. I've been watching this show for however many years, 20.
It's been a bit.
50.
Yeah.
Yeah. And suddenly it's talking to me like
Wow.
directly. It's very exciting. It's
We
very
had a
good.
crossover once years back. You and Matt invited me on for What the If, and we talked about
Yes.
birds.
Yep.
And I didn't you come on? You came on TWIS one time, and
Yep.
we talked
Yep.
about various sciencey things. I think we talked a lot about Einstein.
Yeah, and I think Matt
Might
was
have.
there too. I
Mhm,
met Matt doing my co-host, one of my co-hosts, Matt Stanley. We were
mhm.
I did a documentary about Einstein once, and he was one of the experts in it. So,
And
and
became
we've
a
had,
lifelong friend
yeah, it's true.
and colleague. Yeah,
Yeah, it's true. And
co-conspirator in science fun.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And we got to get you back on the show also. I know you've been on more than once, but
Mhm.
the show, I don't know if you remember, the show you did with us is still one of my favorites. It was about the shrikes. Is that right?
Yeah, that was the bird show. Yeah, that
They're
episode. Yeah.
they're like the Mad Max of birds,
I totally still think that. I love 'em.
Yeah,
They're cool, they're beautiful,
yeah,
they're ferocious, they will impale things, like,
yeah,
come on.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, they're awesome. They're like, road runners are their own kinda cool, but the Shrikes
yeah,
can't go
yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff, good stuff. So thank
What
you,
are
thank
you
you. Yeah,
yeah, no, thank you for getting a chance to talk about that kinda stuff. I honestly love that.
yeah,
What are you doing now? What are you up to? What have you been up to since the last time that we
yeah.
spoke? I think we were the last time I was on was with something to do with Myst, the video
Oh,
game.
oh, no, it well,
So
a little
that
bit. It
was
was Polybius, which is this
yes.
mythical video game, that was rumored to basically possess
Yeah.
anyone who played it. Great story, great story. Yeah, and you helped us imagine how would that work? How would the game
Yeah.
interact with the brain in that way? But yeah, so I've been, doing, this podcast, as you mentioned, What the If?
Mhm.
And with Matt Stanley and Gabby Panicia. Gabby is a biologist at Harvard, and Matt is a physicist and historian of science at New York
Yeah.
University. And we've been doing that now almost 8 years, amazingly. So 400 something episodes, you know. In fact, interesting that you
It's
said the
cute.
other,
You're babies. That's nice. Or, like, you're
well,
getting to be like kindergartners now. That's
yeah,
good.
you said something like, I think in your last episode, you said episode 125, but you must, now that I'm looking at the numbers, it must have
Mhm.
been 102. Anyway, I
One
don't know what it was, but yeah.
I think no, it was I think I said 1, and I think when I said it, it was supposed to be 10, and
Right.
maybe just in the live moment, I said
Yeah.
1 and nobody
Yeah.
caught me.
Yeah.
So it went out, 156.
Yeah. No, you're all the way
It's
back to
like, "No,
156. Now those things
no,
add up. They add up quick.
not
Uh,
starting over."
so I've been doing that. I also, we can talk about it now, or we can talk about it later.
Now.
Also am a member now. I'm a member of the Planetary Society that was founded by Carl Sagan and a couple of other wonderful people. Um, many, many moons ago, when I was very little, and Carl Sagan was still alive. But I still have my card here, my membership card here on the wall. It's a membership from the beginning. But for the past about 10 years, they've been doing something called the Day of Action. And
Yeah.
that's where volunteers from the society travel on their own to Washington, D.C. for, on a Sunday, we have a training day where we get up to speed on the status of all the NASA programs and all the budgets and things like that. And we are being basically trained to get to talk to our representatives and senators, to their staffs in person in their offices the next day on Capitol Hill. And we push, usually they've been, most of them have been very supportive of science. In particular, we're supporting science at NASA, which is its own direct science directorate, they call it.
Yeah.
And generally, the Congress has been very supportive of that over the years. The White House has not been supportive, and they've last year tried to
Yeah.
cut NASA science in half. Oh yeah, and yeah, you're showing a picture now, and it's funny is I am actually in that picture just to the right, just out of the picture.
Oh, just out of frame. I was wondering, I was looking at the picture, and I see actually a few faces that I know.
Oh,
I
right
was
on.
like, "Oh, hey, I know some of these people in there."
Yeah,
But
yeah, and that's
but
from a
you're
couple
off
years ago.
screen for this
I'm there in
particular
spirit.
crop. Yeah,
there in
you
spirit.
you were there physically.
Yeah, exactly.
But I
And
but
Bill
I
Nye
do
is
think
there, which is very, very exciting and a huge part of our
'cause
motivation and training.
he
Yeah.
is he still president? He had been president of the Planetary Society for years,
Yep.
and a big part of helping the Planetary Society actually gain prominence because of his public
Yeah.
credibility.
Yeah. No, he's been a phenomenal leader. He was president, I believe, for 15 years.
Yeah,
And
it's a long time.
just now, in fact, on the eve of this last event, I was honored to actually got invited to a very small dinner we had with the leaders of the society. We're sort of thanking Bill, honoring him as he stepped down from CEO, and he's now becoming a worldwide ambassador. Which he said
Okay.
basically he gets to do the parts he likes, and he doesn't have to do the parts he doesn't like.
Which is
Um,
really like it's where you wanna get in your career.
yeah,
I've talked with my husband about this at length, which is grandfather status. Where
yeah, that's right, that's
you
right,
know, people want you there, but you don't have to be there all the time.
exactly.
They let you go home and take naps, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I think if you wear a bow tie, you get to grandfather status, in half the time.
Yeah, it gets
Yeah,
faster,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So you were there and you were you did you actually, speak personally
Yeah.
with cabinet members or with certain lobbyists for organizations? So what did you do?
No, no, we actually meet with our representatives in the House of Representatives and our senators in the Senate.
Okay,
Now
cool.
we are meeting, for the most part, we're meeting
Whatever state you're from.
whatever state you're from and whatever
Right. Okay.
district you're from in the House.
Yep.
And sometimes we also go into groups, and so we kind of meet other groups as well. But yeah, no, it's you, and you sit there, and they spend time with you, and you really get to talk, and it's
Yeah.
very moving. And I think the society and the two guys who run it in particular, Casey Dreyer and Jack Corrali, have
Yeah.
just got honored by an organization that honors people who do activism for science. But they've done a phenomenal job at, and it worked. So last year, look, we weren't the only ones, but
Mhm.
the president tried to slash science in half and
Mhm.
zero out the STEM. But basically, he literally said, cut science in
And
half
he
and
wants
get
to
rid of the STEM department. Yeah,
he wants to
education.
zero out the science budget this year for 2027 completely.
Oh,
That's where we are.
wow,
That's where we
wow,
are now. So
yeah,
last year, the efforts that were made to talk with members of Congress, to talk with representatives, I believe these efforts actually help because you're
yeah,
going as a constituent and telling your representatives what is important to you. And
yeah,
so these efforts, as they're organized, are essential to actually maintaining the funding that is put in the budget by Congress
yeah,
for
yeah,
NASA, for NSF, for NIH, for
yes.
CDC, for HHS, for so many things.
Yeah. Yeah, and they tell us, and we get to ask the people who run these offices with, for the senators and for the Congress people, what is actually effective? Like, if people call, is that actually effective? We always say,
Yeah,
they're like, absolutely,
and
that is like
yes,
insanely effective. And
it
going
is.
there in person is the most, but that's hard to
Mhm.
do.
Not everyone
It's
can
hard.
go there in person, but a phone
Yeah,
call is something you can do.
very helpful. Yeah.
5calls.org,
Yeah.
one of the best,
Yeah.
ways to give you an idea of what to say, how to say it, and who to call.
Yeah.
Um, so somebody here is asking, is What the If on YouTube?
No, it is not.
No, it's just a
Um, it's
podcast. Yes,
audio only. I
audio
loved
only.
radio
I
growing
say
up.
just a podcast, even though
Just a
people are
podcast.
now saying video is podcast also.
It is, sure. Yeah. But there's any number of reasons for that. One
Oh,
of
I
them
know.
also is that I work in film, and so like if I were to do the video, it would have to be so good that I just can't stand it. And I do love audio. I'll say this, actually, the idea of it's an imaginative show. We basically run with thought experiments, and they're sort of fanciful scenarios. What if gravity turned off all of a sudden? What would happen? And we use real science
Mhm.
to imagine what would happen, and you
Yeah.
learn from that. that audio lends itself to that because you can kind of imagine a
Oh,
lot of these things.
I love that. I mean, I think that's one of my favorite parts of podcasting, the audio aspect of it.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
into it through radio and the
Right, right.
whole, I still listen to radio in my car because I love the DJs. I
Mhm.
love when I take my son to school, the morning DJs talking
Yeah,
about whatever it is. But I love it's that intimate relationship, hearing what they wanna talk about, and
yep,
I think that, NPR gets it right so much, like the talk radio
mhm,
for so much get it right. It has been influential across the political spectrum and across the social spectrum and
yeah,
just also for entertaining, and I don't know, I grew up listening to, you know, record stories on records,
yeah.
so I don't know how many kids these days are listening to stories in podcast form, but I think it's
Actually, there's a
that
lot. There are some beautiful stories.
that imagination is so important. As somebody in media, filmmaking, documentary, talking to people out in the world, yeah, you just said there's a lot. Like,
Yeah.
what are you hearing about the world of media these days?
Well, first thing I want to mention real quick, I realized there is one thing on YouTube. Well, I've done a lot of things on YouTube,
Oh,
but
awesome.
there is a video, remember that I'm a little mini documentary I made about Dr. Kiki. And
There is it. So, yeah, ages back.
Twist
Yes.
Twist Takes Manhattan, it's called. So look that up. And what's happening in
Mhm.
media today? Well, actually the movie business is in terrible shape. I think it may rally, but nobody knows. But we're in transition. We're in a huge transition yet again.
The streaming movies, right? And how versus movies in a theater or
Even streaming movie, even just the shows them or the movie. Like I have a lot of friends that work in the movie business, and I'm in documentary. That's one side of it, and that's not
Mhm,
doing great. And the fiction side of it is typically doing much better. It's doing
mhm.
terribly
Hmm.
with all these mergers of companies, and nobody. I don't know if anyone exactly knows why, but uh, it's a tough thing.
Money, money, money,
Yeah,
money.
yeah, that's right.
Like, gotta
Yep,
say,
yep, yep,
there's
yeah,
there is a bottom line to
yeah,
why a lot of this stuff is happening when it does not make sense culturally.
yeah,
When people are still going to see movies, when people are still enjoying movies and other, you know, creative media in their homes and externally to them. Like, there's no other reason for it.
yeah, yeah. And
Although
you,
somebody
you
should do a scientific study, maybe an economist, I don't know.
right, exactly. Well, I will say, YouTube is one of those reasons, right? That is part of
Yeah.
it. But I'll say this, I think YouTube is one of the greatest things that's ever been invented. I mean, if I wish I had YouTube growing up. I've been watching YouTube since the beginning.
Mhm,
And the same thing with television, people used to say how terrible television was, but I
mhm.
just watched PBS and Bravo and, I just choose to watch quality things. And you can do that on YouTube. And what's available is astounding, the amount of it. So,
I know that my child watches reels, and he also
mm, mm,
watches a bunch of shorts on Instagram, but when I really, like, check in on him, he's watching long form content about, like, computer science,
great.
programming,
Yeah,
graphic design, science, physics, like,
yeah,
he's in there history. He comes out and he tells me things about, World War II Europe that I have never heard before, but
yeah,
that are backed up by evidence and are not just, like, somebody spouting off. These are he's watching
yeah,
historians.
yep,
He's watching experts in their fields, and I think this is one of the most you're right.
yep,
It's one of the most brilliant could you imagine? All I had was the Encyclopedia Britannica that
yeah,
was bought by
yeah,
my dad and paid for over low monthly installments.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We had the World Book. We didn't even have the Britannica. We just had
Yeah.
but
Oh, man, I should check. Maybe we only had the World Book also. I actually don't remember.
those were
I
good
bet it
though,
was
actually. I mean,
yeah.
I could, right? We would sit there but yeah, what and then the obviously YouTube is inexpensive to create, right? And I have
Yeah.
some friends who are actually making decent livings, some quite decent, on YouTube doing
Yeah.
science, history type programming.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it depends on what you're doing, who you're doing it with, how it's
yeah.
being done. I think that, and suddenly we have turned into the Daily Tech News Show or,
Mhm.
some other
Yeah,
tech program. But
yeah.
this is the cultural application of all the science that came before. And I think that honestly, we need to be looking at it from a social science perspective of
Mm,
how all of this is being navigated and how it's changing society because it is
mhm,
impacting information. The information ecosystem has been, I mean, I hate the word disrupted because it's overused, but it has
mhm,
been disrupted and it is a different place right now. And there are there are people doing such amazing work. But because it is not regulated, because there are
mm,
no unions, because there is not a protection, we, similar to, Chappell Roan coming out at the music awards last year saying, hey, what about protections and like healthcare and, 401ks or
yeah,
whatever, like take care of your artists. We need that for movies. We need it for content creators as well because we have the big ones like Mr. Beast
mhm,
but it's still and he does good, but he's also a young dude coming into a fully fleshed out business environment without having understood all of the underpinnings of that media environment that's bigger. It's like little fish coming into the big shark's jaws, right? And
yeah,
suddenly the little fish has to like is going to be halfway down the gullet before it turns into a big shark also, right?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
there is evolution happening. Um I don't I th it's fascinating, but anyway, I
yeah.
have so many thoughts on this, but it's not our show right now. What else are you doing? Have you made did you finish the Mist documentary?
No, we're still in
You're still
progress on
working on
that.
it?
Still
Okay.
working on that. They take a while.
Alright.
Although we're in, I'm some interesting things are happening with it. I think so. I hope to have some big news on that. But yeah, I've been making a documentary. For those who don't know, I've been documentary about Myst, the classic
Mhm.
video game, and the guys who made it, and all the people involved, and the fans who love it. So yeah, um, so that's still going on. I'm also working on. I'm editing a documentary, uh, another Sesame Street documentary, actually,
You
15 years
are?
after. So I worked on Being Elmo with my good friend
Yeah.
Connie Marks, produced and directed. And she's making a new film about the Muppeteer behind Abby Cadabby. If you know Abby, Abby's no, I
Abby was
still
is a Abby's a later Muppet. Abby wasn't one when we grew up.
right. What's so funny is I was going to say I still think of Elmo as new. Like I didn't have Elmo, right? Elmo has been on Sesame
Elmo was
Street.
not mine. I was like everybody when I was in college, everybody's talking about Elmo, and then there was the Tickle Me Elmo, and then
Yep.
people are setting it on fire, and I had no clue what was
Yep.
going on. I was like, "What?
Yep.
I'm in
And
college. I don't have kids yet. Come on."
he's been on Sesame Street for 30 years. So Abby is a newcomer. She's been there 20 years. And she's a
A
little pink
newbie,
fairy.
just a kid.
Sh-
Yeah.
she's got girl power.
Abby
She's
is
also
cute. I
magic.
do love
Yeah,
Abby. Yeah.
yeah. So the Muppeteer behind her, Leslie Carrera Rudolph, is an extraordinary person, and so we're sort of making a portrait of her life. So that's been pretty
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
I love that you're and by focusing on these figures
Mhm.
in Sesame Street, you can come out from there and what it do you know what kind of story you wanna tell? Like, is
Yeah.
it
Well, Uh,
yeah.
it's she, so, everyone is different. Hers, interestingly, she, grew up, very working class in, Northern California, and, when she was, I don't know, 18 or 19 or something, got her first job, big job, um, out of California at Disney World, and so she went there in Florida, And
So she
this
went
was
from the Golden State to the Sunshine State.
the Sunshine State. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And little DV video cameras had just come out. And so she bought one of those, and it's the first time she'd been away from her family. So she started making essentially almost like a video postcard, a video letter home, a video diary, and sent home like, here's my apartment. This is what I do. And she never stopped doing that. And then eventually iPhones come around, and she just loves,
Huh.
she's kind of a documentarian of her own. She's also
Yeah.
incredibly artistic. Everything is an art project. She will turn anything into a work of art.
I love
So
that.
we have her whole life sort of documented. So it's kind of and she's just a very poetic person. So yeah. But essentially, how can you bring joy to the world when the world pushes back really hard? That's essentially the theme,
We need that right now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
However, I don't know. I mean, I do this science stuff, but however I can help, let me know. I mean, I think we really, really need more joy stories. We need reminders of that common humanness that is not just rooted in fear.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We need all the content, all the creativity that we can share with each other that reminds us that joy is actually revolutionary, that it is standing up to fear and people telling you what to do and all this stuff. Like there's I don't know, joy is I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm
Great.
excited about yes, keep me up to date on this one. I love this one.
Right on.
Yeah. Someone was asking, I mean, we're going to move on to science very shortly, but Fada is asking whether the original creators of Myst are still involved with the game, what they're like, and they're still up in Northwest Washington State, right? Not
That is
to tell people where people are located.
right. Yes, one is literally in Washington State, and the other is in another state not far from Washington State. But yeah, they are still around. They are still making games. Cyan, CYAN is the name of the company. I would go check them out. In fact, they were just putting out some new stuff just now. I think they made a new version of Myst for PlayStation or something like that. So yeah, they're doing incredible stuff. And they remade, after Myst, the sequel was Riven, and Riven was like way bigger. And it's almost like they describe it as the Empire Strikes Back to Star Wars. Like the second one, we had all the confidence, we had all the money. Now we're going to really do it right. The first one was this scrappy little thing. Anyway, that game was called Riven, and they went and remade that 30 years after it was made the first time, and made it way bigger even than it was before. So it's a incredible thing. Also very poetic. I'm saying somebody that combines sort of the types of things I like to focus on. It's a very meditative game, beautiful. You're in nature, and there's a mystery, and there's some spooky villains you have to kind of navigate, but essentially you're just solving puzzles. It's kind of like science. And one of the things I learned from Myst, I would just say, is that when you're talking about how making the documentary is taking a long time. It's not easy to make these films from scratch. But Myst is a really hard game. In fact, the vast majority of people.
Oh man, some of those
it.
puzzles. No, I don't think I ever did actually. There
Yeah.
were some of those puzzles that, and it is like science, right? Where you get up against a problem you
That's right.
cannot solve.
Yep.
Then you have to go a different direction and work on a different puzzle for a while and see if you can do that. And I feel like there's definitely a parallel there.
Yeah, and it took a lot of patience and perseverance if you're going to actually see it through to the end. And a total side note, I had another career, for a brief time, for about 4 years.
As a competitive Myst player.
Oh, no. I should have done that. That would have been fun. No, I was an intern at NASA at the Goddard Space Center, but I saw, I saw projects. That was actually the first place I think I saw projects that take a really long time to make. They take a lot of dedication and perseverance, but if you stick with it, you can, as Bill Nye would say, you can change the world.
or reach out to the universe.
Yeah.
I went to Goddard back in 2006 or 7,
Oh, wow.
maybe 8, with a National Association of Science Writers group and saw the honeycomb mirrors as they were being designed
Yeah.
and created. It was like the first iteration of
Mm.
the honeycombs and got to learn about them there. Here we are 20 years later, right? We're getting these amazing images from the James Webb Space Telescope. There are these just incredible science that's able to be done. We are touching the past.
Mhm.
And it's only possible because of stuff that was done at Goddard and the patience of people who looked at the future and said, "We can do something."
Yeah.
Step by step. And
Yeah.
they fought for their funding and the budget increases and, I'm sure the story is brilliant, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
how
And then
neat
Nancy
that you interned there.
Oh, it was amazing, and then, the centrifuge was there that they trained the astronauts on and, other stuff. I worked on some cool stuff that went on the space shuttle, and, the Hubble telescope was also run out of there, and,
Mhm.
the Nancy Grace Roman telescope is about to launch, which is basically the successor to Hubble, even though
Yeah.
Hubble is still going amazingly. And they've just, basically, they're about to launch. Incredibly, they are under budget and under deadline. They're ahead of schedule and under budget,
It
and
happens sometimes.
it happens. And yet the entire Goddard Center is threatened with being shut down.
Yeah, they've been, but it's not just Goddard. They have been, decimating
Yeah. Yeah.
all of NASA's facilities, and all of the manufacturing,
Yeah.
we've got research, we've got development, we have action, going to space and doing everything is being outsourced. There was a plan called the 2030 plan that was developed several years back. And when I found out about it a few years ago, it horrified me. And we are watching it play out right now, even as NASA is struggling for budget, even as the Planetary Society is going for a day of action, looking to support for support through Congress.
Yeah.
There's a plan that has been in place since the first administration
Mhm.
that is still going,
Mhm.
and it wasn't really slowed down during the last administration. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. We're not going to talk about politics or other issues right now. We're going to talk about optimism. But actually I have like a whole bunch of death and destruction and chaos in tonight's show. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Everybody, we have had a very long introduction with this wonderful conversation with Philip Shane, and I really do hope that you look up his Elmo documentary, like the Elmo movie. It is wonderful. Additionally, he has a documentary about Einstein,
Mhm.
so many more. We will link to his website, and we'll remind you again at the end of the show. And of course, What the If, an amazing podcast with Matt Stanley. And what is your other co-host's name?
And
She
Gabby
wasn't there.
Panacea. Mhm.
Gabby
Gabby.
Panacea. She was
Yeah.
not there
Dr.
last
Gabby
night.
Panacea. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Dr.
Yeah.
Gabby.
My co-hosts go places. When she started, she was so simple. She was a
That's good.
student at Rockefeller University. And then 4 years later, I guess as they do, suddenly she was a PhD and now she's at Harvard. She's a doctor at Harvard. So.
8 years later, here you go. Time happens. People do
Yeah.
work. Things go forward. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so tonight on the show, we have stories about some plastic fantastic heat in the sky. I've got fish filth, I've got Swedish power, I've got some double trouble for the West Coast, and I have some brains and proteins for us, and maybe some yawns at the end of the show. Are you ready? You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You're ready. Okay, good. I need a little feedback here.
Oh,
As we jump into the show, I want to remind you that subscribing to the TWIS podcast on your favorite podcast platform, or YouTube or Facebook or Twitch is going to bring you TWIS each and every week. Every time a new episode is published, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, 8 p.m. Pacific time-ish. You'll be able to watch us live on Wednesdays. And if you search for This Week in Science or visit twis.org, twis.org, that's our website. You can get show notes, links like those that go to Philip's website and his What the If podcast and other stuff like that. So you got to go there. Make sure you get all the links. Make sure you get subscribed. Share it with a friend. And also, please become part of our Patreon support network because we are community supported by listeners like you. All right. Are we ready? It's time for the science. Woo, 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 woo. All right. Here's our death. It's not the destruction yet. This last week, we lost a very large figure in the field of science. And in fact, in the specific field of synthetic biology. I had met Craig Venter once at a conference many years ago, and we were both much younger, but he was always an imposing figure with a vision and with amazing ideas. He stood in front of a collected SynBio Beta conference and talked about his ideas for the way that synthetic life could be printed using DNA printers on Mars one day in the future, that we might be able to do experiments here on Earth or in our space stations or on the moon, learn things, figure out new protein combinations, figure out new enzymes that would help us terraform other planets, that could help us deliver organisms that would allow us to take control of a foreign environment or even our own, to be able to take the enzymes, the proteins that we know degrade oil or petroleum, that we know exist in organisms here on the planet, but be able to upregulate it, to be able to create organisms that could actually deal with oil spills more effectively than the natural bacteria on our planet, to be able to deal with viral outbreaks, to be able to deal with so many issues that we are up against. He envisioned a future where we could design it, and he was also scary. He was forceful. He was going to do what he wanted to do, and he did a lot of it. He is known for the J. Craig Venter Institute. He is known as a father of synthetic biology, of genetic modification, of creating organisms. We still can't do it. So I just want you all to know that we're not really there yet. So if you're getting scared a little bit, it's okay. Shh, we're going to be okay. He had these visions, and I watched him talk about them, and he made them so exciting. It made your fears go away. I mean, he didn't talk about it so much here on Earth. The DNA printer idea, I loved that it was on Mars. That was okay. He died at the age of 79 last week, and it was related to cancer, but at the same time, it probably wasn't unexpected for him and his family. But when something like this occurs in the lifetime of a figure who is so broadly impactful to science, I think that it's a moment to kind of sit back and say, "Whew, wow, where does that leave us?" He has an institute. He has a legacy, right? But what is that legacy going to be without him? And where he was one man, and we used to have a world of the science superstars who would push things forward, recently, because of things related to the Epstein files, because of, other issues related to that superstar science status, collective science seems to be more important. Collective, collaborative science seems to be the thing that's gonna drive science forward now. But without a figurehead like Craig, how is synthetic biology gonna move forward? Is it gonna do it? What's gonna happen? I don't know. Um, yeah, Venter is a he was controversial. I don't think that anybody will ever say that he wasn't. And I think that's important. And I don't think he ever sat back from his own role as being controversial. But I do think that it is important to just take a moment and think about this man who drove the single nucleotide, the SNP sequencing of the human genome. He when we had a human genome project that took 13 years to get us a human genome, he was the guy who made something faster. It came out very shortly after the original human genome. After him, it was genomics companies. After him, it was the possibility of getting individualized genomes for under $1,000, now under $100, now under a day. You know, the movement he turned not corporatized, I wanna he made it a business. He gave it a he turned genomics and biology into something that people put money behind, and it radically accelerated the timeline. I don't know whether that's for good or for bad. What do you think, Philip?
Well, it's interesting, but and I remember, like it must have been a 60-minute story or something like that when it was like
Mm.
the Human Genome Project was happening, and then it was like, and now here's a story about this crazy guy, and wasn't he was like taking a boat around the South Pacific or something,
Yes!
pulling things out of the water, right?
Yes!
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
I don't remember what that project was called, but we talked about it on TWIS. Blair was very excited about it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's interesting what you say because like I'm not at all up on the sort of the science behind it, but the idea of this public versus private thing is very interesting. You know, again, all the NASA stuff we were talking about is also all about that.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing, I guess, in America, and I assume in much of the world.
A lot of
Another big,
the Western world for sure, but most of
yeah,
the world now, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it sounds like he was like as you said, respected, and um, he wasn't. It sounds like he wasn't crazy like so
N
many
no,
of these guys now. Yeah,
he wasn't crazy, he was
yeah,
he was very serious,
yeah,
very sane, but really the kind like, he he was dynamic in a way that could push things forward, you know?
yeah.
He wasn't like every other scientist, for sure.
Oh, how
Yeah.
so? How what was?
Well, in the way that he could talk to people, in the way that he was excited about it, and could
Uh,
actually put the details aside to be able to tell a story.
yeah.
He was a spokesperson. He was someone who could really get people behind him, you know? Like, if he were not doing synthetic biology and pushing, you know, human genomic research forward, he probably would have been a cult leader, but
Mm,
no. Um, Kevin Reardon is asking, didn't he try to patent the human genome or human genes? And yeah, that was one of the things that he is known
right.
very controversially for, because he tried to say, well, we found these genes, we can identify them using this process. So we'll patent them. Thankfully, judges said no. They
Yeah.
said this is natural, the genes are natural, and they existed before you discovered them, but you can patent the process.
Mm,
So,
mm,
so that is where the difference between if you create a chemical de novo, right, that hasn't it doesn't have any existence in nature,
mm.
you can patent that chemical. But if you're trying to patent something that you did a process and you're like, "Look, I made it with this process." You can't patent the end result, but you can patent the process to make it. And so this is, one of the places where, um, uh, what's the gene editing technology that,
CRISPR.
CRISPR, thank you very
Mhm.
much. I was remembering Doudna, who made
Yeah.
it, but I couldn't remember CRISPR.
Yeah.
He wasn't alone, of course. There was also Charpentier and many other researchers, but, CRISPR itself cannot be patented, but certain processes around it can be.
Mhm.
So, the process that is the CRISPR process can be patented, but those bacterial genes that exist, those cannot be patented. And so, anybody can take those basic ingredients and make a new process if they want, or figure out something new. So, it's all about the packaging.
Yeah. It's interesting. So another sort of theme that comes out of this that I think is very still obviously very important now is the regulation. That that if this balance between, yes, you can have these private companies doing these extraordinary things,
Mhm.
um, and if the regulation kind of finds the right balance between regulation and non-regulation, I guess, or
Yeah.
whatever, then things can really progress forward, right?
I think so, and I think it is a balance, and I mean, I don't know the man or did not know the man well enough to know what his actual philosophy was.
Mm.
Was he doing things knowing? Like, did he try to patent genes knowing that it would get turned down just to push it forward? And I think these are questions that we should ask because if somebody isn't pushing, then it never has to be dealt with, right? And so more problems pop up if somebody isn't ahead of the game, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. I just observe things. I don't know anything. But anyway, I don't know. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about Venter or synthetic biology or this whole area?
No, I say and maybe a lot of people like that, like me, who don't really understand it, other than I understand its importance, and
Yeah.
I constantly rely on, in a good way, Blair and you and
Yeah. Blair
all
is the one. I rely on her too. Where the heck
yeah,
is she? No.
yeah, yeah. What the hell?
Sorry, Blair.
We're cutting
Aw.
up genes and we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And on my show, Gabby, also who's a biologist. So very interesting. Last question. Why was he proposing that this gene editing or whatever be done on Mars? Was that just to
Oh,
avoid conflict or
no, I think he was setting up an inspirational story.
Mm,
It was honestly that day I saw him talk about printing synthetic bacteria on Mars and heard Jennifer Doudna give one of the first talks about CRISPR in a pub. Like it was a crazy day and I went home going, I don't even know what I just heard. Um, but I think what he was doing, he was giving researchers something to aspire to. He's
mm,
also in conversations with people in the new space era, who were in that industry looking at what could we do in space that would
mm,
be safer than here on Earth. And so it's similarly, if you had a lab out of Lagrange point
mm,
or on the moon or on Mars, it could potentially be way safer than a biosafety level 4 lab here on the planet,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
there is
yeah,
so much space that
yeah,
could be insulating, you're right? To actually say this is a safe space, even though it's in space and very dangerous to the people who are working there. But that day, we were also hearing from entrepreneurs who were doing some of the first work on robotic labs, on labs where they're artificially intelligent or had programs sequenced into them that that researchers could upload certain instructions, could send their samples to this, cloud. It's not a cloud,
Mhm.
physical lab, just somebody somewhere else than where they are physically. But basically ask a lab that's robots to do the work for them. And so I heard about all these things in one day, and Craig was sitting in a place of, what is it? The seat, the he had heard all of this stuff. He knew all of this stuff already.
Mm,
And so he was talking to that combined community
mm,
and giving them a vision of
mm,
what the robots, of what the technology, of what the intelligence, of what the like everything, all the people, all the pieces could do together.
mm, mm,
And that was over a decade ago, and he's been doing that the whole time.
mm.
Like he
Yeah.
was a dreamer, and yeah, I think that's what he was doing there.
Yeah. And points to the fact that,
Mhm.
for all we talk about, of course, science, how science is done, how science is done
Mhm.
well, and this could apply to other areas as well. But there's a lot of technology, there's a lot of mathematics, there's a lot of nitty gritty, elbow grease, all this kind of stuff that is involved. But a huge part of it is also just a storyteller. Somebody who can
And
explain it. Yeah.
he did that, and
Mm,
I think that's why, as much as he was a controversial figure, I saw him as somebody special,
mm,
and why he stood out,
mm,
because he was a storyteller.
mm.
Or he had somebody who worked with him who was a good storyteller and trained him and, had coached him and said, "You need to talk about this." Either it
Yeah.
was him all along, or there was somebody behind him going, "This is what you need to do." A science communicator, marketer person who was paying attention. I don't
Yeah.
know. And I wanna hear that story,
Yeah. Totally.
right?
Totally. Totally.
Yeah. Are you ready for more science?
Yeah. Ready.
Let's go.
Always ready.
And I will respond to Fada here. Yes, introducing non-native bacteria to Mars is not a good idea. We should not pollute any foreign world with our crap.
Yeah, but that never
But
stopped Mars. Mars has been sending crap to us constantly, sort of
right,
littering
right.
Antarctica with it, because it's a mess. Not
All over the
biological as
place.
far as we know, but geological anyway.
As far as we know. Yeah.
As far as we know.
But there as far as we have discovered yet or has been told to the public, no, I'm not one of those conspiracy theory people. No. There's a bunch of rocks from Mars on our planet because things knocked into Mars, their moon got boomed, and then billiard balls all over our planet, and we've done the same. Oh my gosh. But we've been sending craft to Mars for years, and,
Mhm.
where we thought we had clean rooms, we have learned we did not, and so our idea of clean, I think, we've been doing studies of funguses and, other bacteria on our space shuttle,
Mhm.
tardigrades. I don't
Yep.
know, we crashed tardigrades into the
I was
moon
gonna say there's
accidentally.
tardigrades all over the moon. Yeah.
I know. No, there's little tons. Oh my gosh. They get a nice little boost of sun, and they're gonna be like, "Ah," burn dead. Oh my gosh. But but I just feel it's all the experiment has already begun, but
Mhm.
maybe we should be doing some of those experiments that we've been doing on our space shuttle, not our space shuttle, our, um, that thing that goes around the planet, space
ISS,
station.
space station.
Thank you very much. The brain
Yeah.
doesn't work live anymore.
Yeah.
ISS.
Yeah.
But maybe we should move some of those experiments to Mars or close to Mars and
Yeah.
see what what have we dropped there that's still alive?
Mhm.
Because I think it's important for, you know, controlling our experiments. But anyway. Yes, rest in peace, ISS. It's not done yet, but
Yep,
pretty much.
yep,
But we
yep.
know people who are making new ISS things where there's going to be an international hotel in space soon. It's going to be amazing. But anyway, we'll talk about that later.
All
Other
right.
science, because I'm going to keep Philip up way too late. He's
Oh,
in
no, don't
Brooklyn.
worry.
It's midnight right now, so
City that
I'm
never
o-
sleeps. That's not a
yeah.
problem. Yeah,
There you are, never sleeping.
yeah.
Okay, so here we get into disaster. You ready? You ready for
Yes,
disaster? Okay,
yes.
so what do you know about global warming, Philip? What about the things that cause global warming or that are forcing factors in global warming?
Well, I guess I would say greenhouse gases. That's what I hear about. CO2.
Right?
That's pretty much my understanding. And there may be other gases that, go in the atmosphere and trap
Water.
heat
Water
and
is
water.
one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Greenhouse gases. So we have, water actually, water vapor is a massive, massive forcing factor
oh.
in and a greenhouse gas. People
So we
don't
should get
think
rid
of
of
it.
water? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
clearly a problem.
totally. Yeah, no.
That is literally throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, as everything heats up, more water vapor ends up in the atmosphere. The water
Mm.
vapor is part of the magnifying factors, or what
Mhm.
we call a forcing factor. Um, so people are like, water, it's not bad. No, it's not. Carbon dioxide, we know, has a very long lifetime. Carbon dioxide, methane, ethane,
Mhm.
all those organics that are up there, ozone. Oh
Mhm.
my
Mhm.
gosh,
Mhm.
that one, that's the cancer in Australia. Um, um, but now microplastics.
Oh, in the air? Or
Yes, yes.
oh my God.
Just published in Nature Climate Change. Dun, dun, dun. Microplastic and nanoplastic particles are pervasive in the atmosphere. Nobody
Wow.
understood what impact they had. There's all sorts of things. There's dust in the atmosphere. There's pollution in the atmosphere. There's everything. Bacteria, fungal spores, everything. Everything ends up in the air, and
Mm.
people are just like, it just smells so clean. No, no. It's really
Mm.
it
This
depends.
Dasani bottle
Uh,
just smells
yeah,
so good.
it's so
Um,
good. Yeah.
wow. So it's I
So,
know they're in the water. Well, they're in the ocean, right? These
yes,
microplastics,
but when we
but somehow it gets
talk
into the air.
about micro and microplastics, like, that's actually big size particles, right? Like, this is
Huh.
stuff you can see. Nanoplastics are the littler, tiny, tiny things that are much harder to see and to strain out. Um, and recently there was a report, and it is talked about in this field all the time about um, how they ensure that they're not like dirtying their samples because there is a lot of work that people are reporting on. Plastic's bad, microplastics are bad. It's in your bones, it's in your brain, it's in your testicles, it's everywhere. Polar bears to wherever. And there is some truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that, but at the same time, it's unclear as to how accurate all of those measures are. And still to this day, we are unsure as to the impact on biology.
Hmm.
Aside from when little animals eat plastic, it gets in their digestive system, it doesn't get digested, and then they die.
Mm.
So there's the one thing that everybody talks about, which is like, oh, the reproductive system and plastics have estrogens. And so is this going to impact the reproductive system and blah, blah, blah. Or plastics are very sticky. And so
Hmm.
pharmaceuticals and other pollutants are going to stick to the plastics. And then they're going to impact the frogs. These are iffies. These are very iffy questions that nobody has like really clearly answered at this point in time.
Hmm.
But brand new, yes, brand new answer. Dun, dun, dun. Airborne microplastics trap nearly 1/5 as much heat as black carbon. Black carbon is one of the worst pollutants in our atmosphere for trapping heat. That's a physical
Hmm.
body. Black carbon is soot. It is left by burning, volcanoes.
Huh.
Yeah, it's not great, but there's a lot of this microplastic that ends up aerosolized. Apparently, some of it through breakdown products. So, like in the West Pacific Gyre, Gimbling
Mm.
Gyre, I think it's Gyre. Um, but in the Pacific Gyre, where plastics seem to be collecting along with a whole bunch of other garbage, aerosols are coming from there as well. So it's part of now a new feedback loop
Wow.
of particles and particles end up in the atmosphere.
Wow. Wow. And I could say, uh, everybody saw the pictures that came back from Artemis, went to the
Ugh,
moon, and these
are
magnificent
we
pictures of Earth. And among the many kind of stunning images are those ones where you can see the atmosphere is just this ridiculously thin, layer of little bit of glowing, in the
Yep.
sunlight around the Earth. And so,
Yeah.
yeah. So now it's full. That is, you can imagine that full of all these other things that shouldn't be there and that are trapping the heat. They're basically, right. The interesting thing about these greenhouse gases or things, pollutants, is that it seems like they let the sunlight in, right? So the sunlight comes from the earth and it gets through
Mhm.
them, somehow hits the ground,
Yep.
heats up the ground. Then the
Yep.
heat comes off the ground, but the heat is trapped, right?
Yes.
And just builds
As
up and builds
Blair
up.
likes to say, it's an insulating blanket.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where you can imagine there's like a small amount of heat that might leave, right? But
Mhm.
it traps all that wonderful heat inside. And
Mm.
so this is another ingredient that we had not added to all of our models.
Mm.
So this is actually very interesting because understanding what is in the atmosphere. So we have this understanding of, okay, the atmosphere is heating, the lower atmosphere, the upper atmosphere heating at particular rates.
Mm.
What's in it that is contributing to the speed of the heating? And over time, we're like, okay, black carbon, greenhouse gases, water vapor, let's add these things to the list of what works. And we're getting better ideas of how each of them work and what they do.
Mm.
This breaks down that like unknown component that has been, like C in E equals MC squared. It's,
Yeah,
it's just fudge factor, right?
yeah, yeah.
It makes that it's not as much of a fudge factor anymore. It gives more
Mhm.
accuracy because now we can say this component, and I will tell you what they found here, is that the global surface concentrations reach 4.18. Wait, what are the P? Mega. I don't know what the P stand. Microplastics. Oh yeah, 4.18 microplastics per meter cubed for micro. I don't know what MP stands for. This is something that I should have figured out, and I apologize that I don't know the exact nomenclature for this. 3.67 nanograms per meters cubed for nanoplastics. And this means that there is 4 microplastic and nanoplastic particles, 0.039 plus or minus 0.019 watts per meter squared, equivalent to 16.2% of black carbon forcing. And this means that they found peaks over the North Pacific subtropical gyre, gimbal and Wabe, exceeded local black carbon by 4.7 fold. So they were unrecognized and very impactful.
Mm. Yeah.
So
And another possible reason why, I mean, don't they say that the Earth seems to be heating up more than
Faster than
estimated?
expected. And
Yeah.
so maybe having something that was unrecognized before be recognized, we can start to put timing to it and say, "Oh, this is how it plays in the equation,"
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
This yeah. So, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. You just said it. Maybe this is part of the explanation of why it's going faster than we thought.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, we're gonna move away from, the atmosphere, and we're gonna dive into the water right now.
All right. All right.
Do
Refreshing.
you like do you like salmon?
Yeah, I like salmon.
You like
I do.
you're like, "Yes."
Yeah.
Ah. Alright, so are you aware, though, of the difference between wild caught versus farmed and the impacts on the environment that people have been talking about over the last few decades?
No, I see those terms on the wrapper, the
Right.
package, wild
Yeah.
caught or farm. But yeah, I don't can't say I know uh, how it affects the environment. Yeah.
And so this is a big question. What, has been shown is that, the farmed fish, when and if they get into the environment, they mess it up. They don't know how to behave, they don't know what to do, they have bad hormones, they're just like, "Brah, I'm a
The
punk rock
city fish.
salmon." Yeah, exactly. Like, "Ah, I just
Yeah.
listened to The Clash way too long, I don't know. I feel like Henry Rollins out in the country, what do I do?"
Yeah.
Excuse me. But this is a huge question as to how aquaculture of these fish, how it impacts the environment and what and because normally fish, like all
Mhm.
wildlife, they run around. They eat where they will, they defecate where they will, they do whatever they will in their place. And then we go and we're like, hey, you're like farmed now. So get into that pen, which is in water.
Mhm.
And we have farmed fish on land for certain species that are up in the mountains, way
Mm.
inland, far
Mm.
away from the sea. But in Norway, it's right in the fjords,
Mm.
and they've got like 995 different fish farms in the fjords of Norway. Um, Norway is the largest farmed salmon producer in the world, according to The Guardian. And I came across this story thanks to The Guardian, and I think it's incredibly important because when I went to The Guardian to look at the story, it also showed an advertisement for Nordic fish oil supplements along with
Uh-huh.
this story, which is, I don't know, the balance, it makes sense, but it's a little funny. It's,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
watching that murder movie that chopped somebody's head off, and then the ad for Ginsu steak knives
Yeah.
comes on right after.
Yeah.
It's
We
well
heard you
timed.
like knives. Yeah.
Ah, yes. So, salmon I mean, I don't know. Growing up, it was a delicacy. You only
Mm.
got to have it if like once a year. It was like
Mm.
Canadian maple candy. Like you
Oh.
maybe got it at Christmas time. Maybe the smoked salmon that the grandfather brought for the
Mm.
bagels. I don't know. It was very much not a normal thing. And over the years, everybody's got salmon. Do you want
Mhm.
salmon on that? Do you want chicken? Do you want salmon? It's like salmon is now like the chicken of the sea, and it definitely doesn't taste like the chicken of the sea. But it is being farmed in that
Mm.
way, and Norway is pushing it forward because it is a wonderful, wonderful industry. It's helpful to their economy, it's fantastic. However, there is an institute called the Sunstone Institute that is dedicated it's a data-focused organization, bunch of data scientists trying to do good for the world, for the environment, and they found in a recent analysis that Norwegian aquaculture released 75,000 tons of nitrogen, 13,000 tons of phosphorus, and 3,600 tons of organic carbon last year alone. And according to this Guardian article, this is the equivalent to the untreated sewage of 17.2 million people for nitrogen, 20 million people for phosphorus, and 30 million people for carbon.
Wow. And that's those numbers, by the way, just for the heck of it, right? That's New York City itself. Now, within the city limits is 8 million people. And I imagine
But every
maybe
day with commuters, and so doesn't
the whole
city
area.
be like 20 million people every day because of business?
Right. So I was going to say this basically adds up to sort of like a vast metropolitan area.
Vast, dense.
Yeah.
Now imagine Norway with these beautiful fjords, right?
Yeah.
These gorgeous fjords, and I'm going to keep saying it like that because like it's great. But the coastline of Norway has these beautiful landscapes, and it's special because the ocean comes into this very folded coastal structure. So I think of the coast of Norway as like the surface of a human brain, with all of those deep crevices and everything that might go in there or come out. But if you don't have the proper flow, if there's not enough water coming out to push everything out of the fjord into the sea, it's going to sit. And you have these very old, very cold, pristine environments. Yeah, not entirely pristine, but Norway's not huge. So even though there's industrial waste, even though there's human waste, even though there's agricultural runoff going into the fjords, now you also have the fish runway, like this runoff from the fish. And there is a website by the Sunstone Institute that I think is honestly one of the most beautiful web stories that I have ever seen, that is their report on what they found. It tells the story of one researcher who spent his life looking at salmon industry waste, and it shows these beautiful videos of him going below the cold sea, and looking to see how the salmon industry has impacted these fjords. Fjords. I'm going to keep saying it like that. Anyway, you have these circular pens that exist at the edge of the fjords, where the salmon, before they're released to the sea, before they're taken to the open sea pens for adult development, they are kept at the edge of land to, kind of make the life history of the salmon in their development. They spend their youth in the rivers. They get into the brackish, rivery water that goes to the sea. They spend 2 to 4 years out to sea, becoming adults, and then they come back again to spawn at the rivers where they were born. And so this is trying to synthetically recreate that. And they've got the babies that were now the smolts that are growing into their adultish form at the edge of the fjord. And they've got them in these contained pens, and they're feeding them salmon kibble, which is nutritional food pellet, like cat food, dog food, but for salmon. And they shake it down over the top of the circular pens, these tanks, but the fish are in them. And then all the water is a freshwater flow through. So all the water goes through, and then all the garbage comes out. Undigested food, waste from the fish, everything of this biological in nature, which we know on the West Coast here, and also Florida, very familiar with algae blooms, very familiar with oxygen dead zones, where if you have too much biological matter, it eats itself. It
Hmm.
eats all the oxygen, and then nothing can survive. And so these researchers, they have found that they have these pipes where there's tons of biological organic material that comes out, and the fish, the cod, the smelt, the fish that live in the fjords are feasting
Hmm.
on the detritus of the salmon. But so are the sea urchins. The kelp forests that normally grow in these places are dying because the algae is dying, the urchins are coming, there is not enough in these places, even though there is excess, to actually support the ecosystems anymore. And so we're seeing a problem of the salmon. Anyway, I'm gonna stop scrolling through this website. It's incredible.
Yeah,
I
beautiful.
highly recommend anybody who's interested in the plight of agricultural fisheries, fishery, agriculture, apiculture. No, apiculture is bees. But anyway, anybody who is interested in this, I highly recommend. I'm gonna share the link, and it is one of the most amazing reports I have ever seen visually, but also data-driven, story-driven. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
And
that's beautiful. Yeah, beautiful website.
and we
Effective.
need to save the fjords.
Yeah. I have never I've never imagined the word filth and Norway in the same sentence.
You wouldn't,
Now we
right?
know. No
Yeah,
one is
and
sacred. Nothing is sacred.
so but this is one of the things they bring up is they've gone to the companies and they've said, "We went below the water. We saw what's happening." And they said, "We're within regulations.
Ah,
Everything we're doing is fine."
yeah.
And so this is where there needs to be a conversation, and this institute, the Sunstone Institute, is trying to tell this story in a way that makes people want to talk to their representatives in Norway, right?
Mhm,
Try
mhm.
and get people to fill the gap in regulation that is currently allowing these companies to overfeed the animals, to allow the waste to go into the fjords. Um, there's there's something that is not sustainable here,
Yeah.
and you look at Norway and you go, "Of course they're gonna fix it,"
Mhm,
but they're human too, so
mhm. Yeah,
they've got
yeah.
capitalistic tendencies as well, so
Well, also, it's interesting. You can see it's a little surprising because from above, for those who didn't see the website, from above, it looks magnificent. The
it's
grass is
beautiful.
green right next to the facility. The water is blue. It's beautiful. But
Mhm.
it was this diver went under the water and shows you that. And
Yeah,
without that website, without his footage, you wouldn't know that.
and you wouldn't know, and I think
Yeah.
this is but it's the calm before the storm, because
Mm,
it's only so long before what's happening under the surface can't be hidden by a few meters at the top. It'll make its way to the top, and those blue fjords will become green.
mm,
People ask, "Oh, why is Lake Tahoe gets more green all the time? We want Lake Tahoe to be blue." These are similar questions. How do we work together to make our environments resilient, sustainable? I don't know.
yeah.
How?
Or reminds me, and again, yet another thing, poetic moment from the Artemis mission. I think it was Christina, the astronaut,
She's
said,
amazing.
"Yeah, she's very." But they were all just incredible,
They're all
right?
so amazing. They picked the best astronauts.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
did.
they did. And there's a whole. In fact, there's a story. I'm curious to learn that story. How that happened, how they chose
Yeah,
them.
each of them.
And but anyway, she was saying, that she was talking from the craft or something, and she said, we are a crew. You're all talking to us. We're a crew on this ship. And she said, and then I was looking back at the Earth, and it was so tiny, so and floating in this blackness of space. And she thought, oh, that looks like a ship too. And you talking to us. You're the crew. So
Yeah. Can we act like the crew? Can we?
Mm.
I mean, even that crew from Gilligan's Island, they worked together too.
I was gonna say we're like a crew of pirates or something, all drunk and fighting with each other. And, yeah.
Oh. We know how to do this. We do. It's just we are allowing certain interests to keep us from doing it. Have you seen, like, honestly, have you seen, Shane, the news about sustainables and renewable energy recently? Have you?
No.
I saw a graph this last week. California is mostly sustainable energy.
Huh? Oh, wow.
Fossil fuels, it's natural gas
Mhm.
was some 31%. Solar, wind, hydro, geo,
Mm.
they were all together more energy towards the usage on a particular, like, one day last week. Natural gas was this small piece of the pie compared to what you would expect it to be, and I just sat and I looked at that and I went, "This is why the fight is so big right now."
Mm.
Because we can do this. I don't know. We're doing it, and what Trump has done recently with the canal, with the strait,
The canal, yeah.
the canal,
Exactly.
the strait, the
Love canal.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what he has done recently has inspired investment in sustainable and renewable energies internationally.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he might not have wanted to do that, but hey-o.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
So we move from disaster at that point to maybe there is an upside there. But back to the United States. My last little story here in this part of the show. Um, do you get earthquakes in Brooklyn?
You know what? It's so funny. I was talking about that just the other day with a friend.
Were you?
Occasionally we do. Not like now. I used to live in LA, so I've had more
Yeah.
experience there. But we
So
do
that would be
occasionally.
more like San Andreas Fault
Right.
and all the other things. So
Mhm.
you're aware of the West Coast
Oh yeah.
earthquake
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah.
So I moved up to Portland, and it's like, "Oh, yeah, volcanoes everywhere, Ring of Fire, that's really cool." And you don't really put 2 and 2 together at first until you go, "Oh, right." And there's the Cascadia Fault, which is a massive fault, which people over the last, like, 10 years have been like, "Hey, this is ready to go at any point. It's gonna be major." And you still have, like, petroleum and fossil fuel right here in the port of Portland, and you have all these things that you have not fixed. There's gonna be a problem, right?
Mm. Mm.
And we get little blips every once in a while, and it's kinda like, "That's nice." So it's like I went from the San Andreas Fault in California, growing up near that and saying, "Okay, whatever, anytime, I'm ready," to moving up here and all of a sudden being like, "All right, just a different fault. Anytime. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Got my earthquake kit. We're ready."
Yeah.
But yay! Doesn't one good fault deserve another? So a new study out of, Corvallis, Oregon.
Hmm.
Oregon State University has, worked on a study that was just published in a geoscience, uh, uh, journal called Geosphere. They were doing a management survey several years back of the Cascadia Fault, which is off the coast. And so they were kind of in their boat and moving down the fault line, taking cores and trying to look at, the sedimentary layers to see look for evidence of earthquakes at different points
Mhm.
in time, because
Mm.
looking at the way that the sediments have bounced and shifted, if you take a sifter, it shifts the smaller particles to the bigger particle, the bigger particles go up,
Ah,
smaller particles come down, and the same thing happens
huh,
in our sedimentary layers around faults. And so they're able to
huh,
look at the fault, around the fault, at these cores,
interesting.
and be able to go, "Oh, okay, here," and we've got down the fault line, this was definitely a major time. We can, you know, date the materials and are able to go, "Okay, this is 1,000 years ago, this was this many years ago, and this," and they kinda kept going down the fault, and they thought they were still on the fault, and they kept following it, and then they realized they were no longer on the Cascadian fault line anymore, but they were getting some really interesting cores. They
Huh,
were like, "What's going on here?" It turns out they had just moved down onto, like, more San Andreas Fault
huh,
material. So they're offshore, and they're finding these fault lines, and they saw a reversal of some of the patterns that had been happening along the Cascadian Fault, where they were like, "Here's an earthquake, here's an earthquake, here's an earthquake." And they were like, "What happened? What happened? What happened?" And they realized the two faults act together. So when one goes, the other goes.
huh.
And it happens within hours or days, not
Wow.
months or years.
Wow.
So what they're saying is that there is ex evidence in the core samples that they took of major earthquakes along the faults that led to both faults actually having major earthquakes
Wow.
within a very short period of time.
Wow.
So,
Although we haven't
this
seen that in like in the past.
O over
It
1,500 years. Yeah. So it's like
right,
it's like this kind of big earthquake they're talking about, like, it's
right.
over 1,000 years. So where they're talking about, they keep ta San Andreas Fault, ready for Cascadian Fault, ready for, oh, geez. So they suggest that it may not just be the Pacific Northwest that
Yeah.
goes when the Cascadian Fault does. It could lead to a sympathetic
Hmm.
earthquake within hours or days across the California coast. Ah, so it could be the entire West Coast goes in just one day.
Whoa,
Chaos. So,
crazy.
I don't
Yeah.
know, I'd rather go back to that salmon story of the Norwegian fjords.
Yeah.
I'd rather go back there
Yeah.
because that seems like something that we can fix.
And, it's always funny 'cause these stories of, like, where there's some period, some historical pattern of something leads for instance, there's a historical pattern of ice ages, right? So but it leads to these things where the the amount of time between them is so huge that, you don't know, does
Yes.
this gonna affect your life at all? Well, it could tomorrow, or it may never, not for hundreds of years or 1,000. Yeah.
Right, and this is one of those moments where people are like, "Well, it could happen at any point," but what is that point?
Uh,
Tomorrow or 20
right.
years from now or
Mhm, mhm.
even 100 year, because geologic time doesn't, and we don't have a way to actually, like, pin it down.
Mm.
Do you remember, like, in Italy, there was a massive earthquake, they had, like, pre-shocks, these
Yeah.
seismic shocks, and then the physicists or the geophysicists were were sued, they were convicted, and they almost went to jail, and it was overturned later, but somebody basically said, "Oh, go home, have a glass of wine. Like, you'll be fine. It's great." And
Yeah.
there was a massive earthquake and a bunch of people died.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
What they say, hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
Like I said, get that earthquake kit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make sure you've got what you need.
Well, I am curious. I would be curious to hear what, given all the building regulations that came out of all the earthquakes, things have gotten much, much, much better. I mean, I remember even living in Los Angeles in the early 2000s, we had a couple earthquakes. Fortunately, none of them were like insanely devastating, but I remember them always saying that in LA, one or two places had some minor damage. Had this been in some other parts of the world, it would have leveled the entire place, So I wonder how things would fare under, like what level of shock, what on the Richter scale. I wonder what they're talking about for this.
Right. And so
jumbo.
Yeah. And so what level of shaking has to have it happen across the Cascadia Fault? Does it have to be the entire fault? How big does it have to be to shake the San Andreas, and vice versa? When one goes, how big does it have to go to make the other go too?
Of course, Cascadia, you got one up on the boring Southern California. You've got, what, 5 volcanoes or something?
Oh, like I said, Ring of Fire. Hello.
Right, exactly.
We're so good. I can see 3 volcanoes from my house.
Wow. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, come visit.
Yeah.
Come on, next time you're out here.
Yeah, that'd be great.
For your mist.
I have been to Mount St. Helens a few times. That is an astounding.
I still need to go.
Oh, you haven't been? Oh my gosh.
Well, I've been, but I haven't gone hiking.
Yeah.
Like I really want to do a good hiking trip up Mount St. Helens and really check it out. But
yeah.
And as Paul Disney is saying, most of our volcanoes are inactive, but that doesn't mean that they are extinct.
There was a time in this
inactive,
country,
not extinct.
There was a time in this country where our volcanoes used to do things.
They used to do things. They still might. Who knows? They're just inactive right now. It's like, I'm taking a nap and then I'll get up really quick.
Yeah.
Jeez. The natural world is amazing, and we love putting our houses near the big, pretty, scary things.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this moment to quickly say, this is This Week in Science. Thank you so much for joining the show, and I do appreciate the time that you're spending here. If you want to take a moment, head over to TWIS.org, click on that Patreon link, become a supporter of the show. It would really, really help us out month to month. We can't do what we do without you. Additionally, hit share. Are you watching us on social media? Do you have a podcast player that allows you to share with your friends? Please tell people about TWIS. You can't keep a secret. Don't hold us back. These are important conversations, and we really cannot do what we do without you. Thank you for your support. All right, Philip, we're going to come back for a few more stories. Am I keeping you up a little too late tonight?
No, seriously, I'm loving every second of this. This is totally great. This is way
Yay! Science
sleeping.
for keeping you up at night.
Oh my God, it's incredible. Incredible. Seriously, that's great. Yeah.
All right. So one thing I've always been very interested in is how our nerves, some of them become covered in a substance called myelin. And myelin is it's been described as an insulating sheath. People have talked about it similar to an insulating outer layer of an electrical wire, where it is supposed to keep all the current flowing down the wire. This is not an accurate analogy, and I will tell you right now, I have learned through the years, it very much is not accurate. But we can still allow it, imagine it as that outer layer of a wire, that red plastic on the outside of an electrical wire. That's like the myelin sheath. It's on the outside, but it wraps around the length of the nerve as it extends, say, from your spinal cord all the way down to your foot. There's myelin wrapped around that. From your brain down your spinal cord, myelin wrapped along those little nerve fibers, helping to keep it all healthy, making sure it all works. The sheath also is involved in the signaling itself, and that's why I'm saying it's not actually accurate,
Mm.
that previous analogy. But anyway, it's a fascinating the myelin sheath wrapped. It's a cell, a glial cell that wraps around the nerve. And sometime in our development, our bodies go, we're not just going to make more glial cells. We're going to have them turn into myelin and protect the nerves and make sure that our nerve conduction is amazing for our giant body size.
Hmm.
It's very important. So, a lot of small organisms, little little honeybees, other insects, little animals, they don't have myelin around their nerves. Their nerves don't move far enough. They don't have enough going on. There's no myelin needed, no glial cells, nothing involved in the same way.
Hmm.
Mammals, other organisms that are bigger than very small stuff, they need that protection to make sure that the signaling propagation works the way that it does. When myelin goes bad, very often it's because it's attacked by the body itself. An autoimmune disorder called multiple sclerosis
Okay.
attacks myelin, destroying it, and that leads to problems with signal propagation. It leads to destruction of nerve pathways. It
Mm.
leads to the destruction of nerve cells themselves. Myelin is an essential part of our central nervous system.
Mm.
So, at some point in our development, our body goes, "Make but it doesn't happen all at once across the entire central nervous system. It happens differently in different parts. How does it know? And this story that came out this week, just published, researchers at the Advanced Science Research Center at the, okay, City University of New York. Is it CUNY or SUNY?
Yep.
CUNY
Oh, well,
or
if that's
SUNY.
City University, that is
CUNY.
CUNY. Yeah.
CUNY.
SUNY
Okay.
is the state. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. This is why I needed you here today.
Yeah.
No.
Michio Kaku is one of their famous professors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, CUNY Graduate Center, this Advanced Science Research Center at the CUNY Graduate Center, they just published in Nature Neuroscience this study of developmental stages, 32 to 40 weeks in human gestation. They were looking at mice, not in humans, but they were looking at the development of oligodendrocytes, which they come from progenitor stem cells and they become myelin. So they're these brain oligodendrocytes. They get turned into brain cells, and during these very critical moments of fetal development, what they determined is that there's this period of time where glucose is heading into the brain area and is just like glucose, glucose, glucose. And so the glucose sets a signal to grow lots and lots of oligodendrocytes, these precursor brain cells. They could turn into lots of things. And the glucose is the signal for growth, for division, for multiplication, for just doing all the cool stuff. And then, though, when you take the glucose away, it's a switch. And that switch is what leads to the development of myelin. And they found that there are critical enzymes that are involved that are the switches, and that these different enzymes in different regions, so they could look at the gene expression for these enzymes in different parts of the brain, and they were in the mouse brain and able to go, "Oh, so now this part of the mouse brain is gonna myelate," and it did. They would, like, turn it off expression-wise. They could develop a switch that could be like, "Glucose switch on, glucose switch off," and when they did, they basically were turning off cell division and turning on myelination. Yeah. The importance of this is that if we understand the switch that controls why or when myelination happens, maybe we can start to understand why and when it goes wrong. And maybe we can understand how to fix it.
Mm.
So, yeah,
That'd be amazing.
it would be. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm tired of multiple sclerosis in the world. Make it go. Just make it go.
Mm, mm,
That'd be great. Make
yeah.
it go away.
Yeah.
No, Kevin Reardon, it doesn't turn into myelin plastics.
What is that? And so it's built in it grows in different parts of the body at different times. It's not. It almost sounds like a roving construction crew or something.
Right. So, but not different parts of the body. If you can imagine the central nervous system. So you have the central nervous system that is an extension of your lower spinal cord, right? So the nerves that come out of the lumbar region of your spinal cord. You have the central nervous system that it's your brain. But then you have the central nervous system that goes all the way down your spine. The central nervous system is a contained system. And it is its own separate, independent, not independent really, but it's its own contained system within the body.
Wow.
So anything that is held within this system, the nerves, the support cells, the blood-brain barrier, those endothelial cells that are involved in the capillaries that bring blood and filter the lymph and hemoglobin for the nervous system. Like, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Almost any of this stuff, biology, I didn't learn a lot because in the way I looked at it when I was in school, the physics department everything was dry, and like when you do astronomy, everything you're studying, it's far away. You don't have to smell it or touch it, let alone cut it open. The biology stuff, it was in your face, it was in your hand, it was wet, it was smelly, and I just couldn't deal.
I love that. You're like, that's why I didn't do biology. That's why.
It was wet.
Too close and wet.
I did the dry science. Yeah.
I do love. I saw a graphic today that was, one of those jokes where it was like, oh, biology is the basis of everything. And somebody says, well,
physics.
Biology is just applied physics.
Yeah.
And then somebody else says, well, physics is just applied maths. And then someone else says, maths are just applied philosophy. And then someone else says, well, philosophy is just applied biology.
Oh, that's really good. Wow.
And I was like, ooh, full circle.
Total. That's like an awesome rap battle right there. Yeah.
You got to get all of them in there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna say, so for all that stuff always just makes me amazed at like evolution, right? And one of the things I was thinking as you were describing just these incredible systems was like, I'm gonna guess somebody has calculated that evolution had time to build all of this stuff through random. Yeah.
So, but this is still okay. You mentioned random, which I think is, it's one of the big discussion points where people come in and they say, "Really? It's random, it's not planned, there isn't a creator, like, what are you talking about?" And I think this is where it gets very interesting
Mm.
because we see that there is randomness. There is random mutation. There
Mm.
is, the impact. We've shown the impact of gamma rays or even X rays
Yeah.
on our DNA and how these things can impact change in ourselves to, lead to cancer or, other diseases. And so the question is, okay, we've got it in ourselves, fine, but what about next generation? And it's like, well, do you think those rays like don't impact the stem cells or like your sex cells at
Mm.
all? But moving beyond that, researchers are looking at the the patterns of inheritance across eons. And
Mm.
so we know there is something that's called the mutational clock. And the mutational
Mm.
clock is actually a basically it's a well accepted timing of how often mutations occur in DNA and certain amounts of DNA, over a certain amount of time, right? So it's like,
Mhm.
oh, well,
Mhm.
you've
Mhm.
been around 10,000 years.
Yeah.
You've been around a million years. We expect X number of mutations over that
Right.
time,
Right.
right? But then you play in what we've been learning. So forever, it was all just DNA, right? So it's mutations in DNA, and that's all we're looking at. And so the question has always been, how is it only DNA that's responsible for all of this? And everybody's like, oh, of course, it's just Darwinian evolution, natural selection. And
Yeah.
it's whatever you've got, it's, going to make you more successful. And so then heritability, and you pass it on to the next generation, and so on and so on, right? And I used to actually laugh at the whole idea of, um, what was the dude's name? It's not Mendelian. No.
Oh, Mendeleev or,
The giraffe neck dude.
what a
No,
scientist or a
the
critic?
scientist who came up with a different idea that was your offspring are impacted by stuff that happens to you during your life, or that you actually like, I wanna have a bigger neck, and so my offspring have a bigger neck, and so
Oh,
there was this whole and I'm blanking on the name right now.
not Richard.
Lamarck,
Lamarck. Oh, 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 uh-huh,
thank
yeah,
you, Walt
yeah.
Disney, you win, and there's a CK. It is your spelling was wrong, but thank you very much. This is why I like having a live show with the chat. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Lamarckian evolution, which is this idea was the idea of accumulated changes during your lifetime being
Mhm.
passed down. And we could not find evidence of this stuff. And everybody was like, no, Darwin. And then Mendel and
Mendel.
genes, and it's just DNA. It's only
Mm.
DNA. And now there was a study out this week, actually, and I've seen other studies additionally to this that they suggest that it's the extra stuff. So there's control factors. We've got RNA. We've
Mm.
got proteins, enzymes that actually feed back and control how chromatin moves. We have these factors that control how much of a protein is expressed, or I mean, when I say protein, I mean how much a gene is transcribed to be
Mm.
expressed or how it is held back. And
Mm.
so there is an entire world of infrastructure that lies on top of the DNA
Mm.
that we are just beginning to understand.
Mm.
And this study this week was basically about conserved regions of DNA. And what they were showing is that between these moths and butterflies, which are closely related, but whatever, that they used the same genes over and over again for their coloration. They weren't mutating those genes to get their special coloration. It
Huh.
was all these control factors on top of those genes that allowed for a red here or an orange here or dark
Hmm.
colors. And so it's evolution is much more nuanced, and the mutation and the change is very different from what we think it is. But what you have, though, so in those moths, conserved regions that are responsible for coloration, and somewhere else in the genome, you have regions that maybe have been changed that control the expression of those
Yeah.
particular genes that are making the color, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's a long way to for me to just say, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Well, no, it is interesting because, like, I've done, I'm by no means a expert programmer or coder, as they say now. But, if you do any kind of computer coding, um, if you evolve, you begin with a very simple idea, right? I
Mhm.
just need to do this. I need to put this text on the screen, but then this other thing happens, so now you have to write another thing for that, another thing for that. Very quickly, within an hour, let alone a whole day's worth of work, you've got a
Yeah.
very complex system that's all interacting, and some of it good and some of it not good. And it just
Right,
you just
but I mean, this
keep
is
going.
like, you start with basic and or gates, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You add them to
Yeah.
each other and you have one on top of another, and suddenly it
Yeah.
seems so complex, but the underlying system is so simple.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but this isn't to say there isn't a massive amount of evolutionary change that is taking place. It is just our understanding of it that is evolving at the same time.
Yeah. Very cool.
Um, moving from there, do you take antioxidants and any
N
vitamins
no.
as you get older, like
I do
me?
make sure to go out and get sun, so I get my vitamin B6 or D vitamin D,
Vitamin D,
but I just get it
D3, I
from
hope. Yeah.
interacting with the sun. Anyway, yeah. But should I be?
I don't know.
Oh,
The people keep talking about how as we age, our bodies don't either get certain nutrients out of food as efficiently or use those nutrients or the
ah,
metabolic processes that end up leading to the basal compounds that we need to get out of food. That somehow they're not all getting into our body where it needs to be. Our
mhm,
systems kind
mhm.
of change. And so we have issues like, oh my gosh, my mitochondria are slowing down. And so my brain cells are moving less quickly. And I've got brain fog. And oh, wait, now I have dementia. No. But people take, lion's mane or they take D3 or they take
Mm,
vitamin B12 or whatever. One of the antioxidants that people have in their multivitamins sometimes or even on their own is glutathione. Glutathione is an antioxidant that is composed of cysteine, glycine, and glutamic acid. Cysteine is actually an amino acid, um, and glutamate is very important for our neural control. So, glutathione is something that is used by our body as a combination of these things. Our cells use it a lot. Antioxidants are great because it helps our cells deal with some of that damage caused by oxygen
mm,
throughout
mm,
our lives.
hmm.
Oxygen's wonderful, but we're rusting because of it. And so
Wow,
antioxidants help us not rust biologically.
alright.
And glutathione is one of those things. Researchers were just looking at glutathione and they're like, hey, glutathione's really awesome. It works really well in cells. It helps our mitochondria stay healthier,
Mm,
helps their processes go. But what is it doing and how is it doing that? And so, well, they really took a close look and they found out if you're looking at a model of a cell, you see the nucleus in the middle and it's okay, DNA is in there and it's like coming out of the nucleus. And that is a strip of RNA that gets transferred to the RNA, I mean, gets to the ribosomes, right? And the ribosomes are like, "Do, do, do, we're making amino acids. We're making an amino acid chain out of the RNA. Do, do, do." And so then you've got this unfolded amino acid chain, and it goes back to the endophilic, gosh darn it. I have said this word so many times in my life, the ER. Yes. It is, moving around through I'm gonna look at, the endoplasmic reticulum. Jesus Christ. Okay, not Jesus Christ, endoplasmic reticulum. ER versus JC. Um, oh, so the endoplasmic reticulum. Yes, my brain and words work all the time. I need more lion's mane, apparently.
Yeah.
Menopause is awesome. Just letting you know. Just so you know.
Noted.
So the endoplasmic reticulum, it takes in this chain of amino acids, and the endoplasmic reticulum is where the protein gets folded. It takes care of all the folding into that three-dimensional structure that
Mm.
becomes an enzyme or a catalyst or whatever it does within the cells. The endoplasmic reticulum loves glutathione. It takes an oxidized version of glutathione, and glutathione is essential for protein folding.
Hmm.
So this team that was just publishing in their work in Nature Cell Biology from Rockefeller University,
Oh.
they realized that the endoplasmic reticulum is not just proofreading, it's not just folding, and glutathione needs to be oxidized for the endoplasmic reticulum to use it. And while it's there in the endoplasmic reticulum, it is essential for folding proteins correctly.
Hmm.
If there's a transporter protein that is essential for getting glutathione into the endoplasmic reticulum, and if it's not working, the glutathione doesn't work right, and you get misfolded proteins. And when you get misfolded proteins, what do you get, Philip?
Disease.
Yes. You get things that don't work. You get
Yeah.
disease. You
Yeah.
get dysfunction. You get Alzheimer's disease. You get dementia. You get
Mm.
so many cellular problems. So, anyway, they have a target within the endoplasmic reticulum for potentially helping with some of these diseases of protein misfolding.
Wow.
Now, they also have an answer as to why glutathione is so essential in some of these processes.
Hmm.
And you can get it in a pill. You don't need it all the time, though. It's just supplements. Unless you are deficient in things, you do not need supplements.
Right.
That's the
Right.
yeah.
That's
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
well, I was gonna say it's fascinating. One of those things where it's like they find this just by doing this incredible detective work at this insanely, fine-tuned microscopic level, and they discover something that has huge implications throughout. It's
Mhm.
fascinating. Fascinating.
And I think there's a lot like that where I don't know, we're seeing things that have impacts across our systems. And it's
Hmm.
like, we're like, this has a prescription only noted here. But then it turns out to impact everything.
Yeah. 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 Well, I guess also if there are certain rules, there are certain properties or whatever that govern the system, and they are present everywhere.
Mhm.
And so if you can find out something that's going on somewhere, if you can then, I guess, find your way to the generalized rule that governs that function, you might be able to do something far beyond that site, I guess, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
I
cool.
did a story a long time ago on a compound called ubiquitin, and it's really interesting because ubiquitin comes from ubiquity, meaning like everywhere,
Everywhere.
ubiquitous, right?
Mhm.
Being
Yeah.
everywhere. And I had never heard of it before, and it turns out it is ubiquitin is in every cell of our body. It is an essential protein. There's a gene responsible for it. There's multiple factors that impact how it is expressed and what happens with it, and it's essential for everything. And it
Mm,
is one
mm.
of those things that people don't know enough about, and people
Yeah.
ignore all the time.
Wow.
So I was just like, "Wow, I wanna find more things like this. This is so interesting."
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, look up ubiquitin.
Ubiquitin.
Ubiquitin. It's fascinating. I have one last story because 'cause we're getting late, late, late for you. You still look young and spry.
I'm very spry.
Okay, this one, though, it's, it has to do with yawning. It's the nighttime story.
I love this. Yeah. This is a
This
great
is I
question. Yeah.
this is so sweet. So, published this week, today, coming out, Current Biology, a Cell Press journal, published Prenatal Behavioral Contagion Through Maternal Yawning and Fetal Resonance. What does this headline mean? Babies still in the womb yawn when their mothers do.
What? Wow.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming. Just yeah. That's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they were able to look at they did tests on babies in the womb, um looking at whether or not the mother would yawn and if the baby would yawn. And yes, indeed, if the mother was prompted, not even like in a disease state or anything, they were prompting the mother to yawn. Yawn, yawn, yawn. The mother yawned within 90 seconds, the fetus would yawn. And they were able to show that it was a connected dyad, so that this was not something that was stochastic or by chance,
Mm.
but that actually there is a connection between the yawning action in a mother and her fetal child.
Amazing. But
Why?
they don't know the
How?
physical mechanism for that? No?
No.
Amazing.
No, they just showed that it's like not by chance. This is the first study to actually just show it's not by chance. And
Right.
so the question is, why? What is happening? Like, if the mother yawns when it's a fake yawn versus a real yawn versus like a real, like, I'm low on oxygen yawn, like,
Hmm.
what are the differences? And is it a difference? It's 90 seconds, which is definitely long enough for nervous signaling to take place, but we
Hmm.
know that we have a chemical environment, but the placenta is really like, is it pressure from the outside, like squeezing the womb because of the yawn? Or is it blood pressure
Hmm.
and a change to a chemical component? It's long enough for either of these things to be true. But a minute and a half later, 90 seconds on average, you have the yawn.
Or is it some I don't know if this is a legitimate question, but is it some sort of thought connection? If
Mhm.
their thoughts are connected, right?
I mean, this is I think it's a huge question, right? Is it
Oh, but I guess that you could easily test if the
I
mother
never
thought
felt
about
like I
yawning, but
yes. And
then
I
would
I can
yeah.
and I can
Mhm.
say I never, felt a thought connection between myself and
Uh,
my son, but maybe
mhm.
that explains a lot now? I don't know.
Yeah, that
I don't
is
know.
what's interesting is that it took this long for somebody to ask that question. right? Like the picture here shows it's a kind of an illustration, but it shows a woman, the mother
Yeah.
yawning, and then there's a picture of an ultrasound, I guess like a 3D ultrasound, right, of the baby. So you figure those have been around a long time.
Yeah, so we've actually known for a very long time that
Mm.
babies in the womb yawn. It's
Oh,
been seen when we're doing ultrasounds.
right.
And it's the same, like, especially once the fetus is old enough with the bone and muscular structure, it's the same organization, everything resembles an adult yawn,
Mm.
and people have said, "Well, maybe it's just babies yawn in utero as part of learning how to breathe, or maybe it's a brain organization thing where the
Mm.
brain is testing out new signals." And that could still be true, but they also this is the first time that it's been tested as a contagion, which we
Yeah.
know it is, right? So,
Yeah.
like, if someone yawns, other people
Oh, right.
yawn, but it's
Right.
usually you see the yawn or you hear the yawn or you're influenced by some social factor, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
How would it be a social factor with the babies?
Right. Oh, that is fascinating. And maybe that what's interesting is, right, that somehow perhaps the fact that we do yawn when other people yawn goes back to the womb, right?
Mhm.
That's kind
That's
of bizarre.
and that's one of those things, right? And we can
Yeah.
see there's yawning of fish, like, there's all sorts of, like, evolutionarily, yawning is something that goes way back.
Oh, I didn't know that fish yawn.
Yeah,
'Cause
yawning is not just a human kind of thing, but there's
right.
the way and why humans do it is ve and especially the contagious part of it
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
what's
Mhm.
not understood.
Right.
And so the fact that there is a timed dyad of the baby's yawning behavior that coincides in a certain way, like, synchronized with the
Mhm.
mothers
Mhm.
is that especially, like, in this setup, it's not even a real yawn. The mother was, like, got a
Ah.
contagious yawn.
Uh-huh. Right.
So it wasn't like the mom was really tired or lacked oxygen or whatever. It was a
Right.
contagious yawn for the mom, and then the
Right.
baby got a contagious yawn.
Because the mom is watching in the illustration, the mom is watching a computer screen, right, where somebody
Yeah,
yawns on the screen.
yeah,
Um, Fascinating. Yeah, I think in
yeah,
the last episode, you had a thing on yawning. There was
I
another
did.
yawning thing.
I
Yeah.
made lots of people yawn, I think, and
Oh,
I'm doing
yeah.
it again, I hope.
Yeah. But you said there that we don't know why people yawn, and I thought that was fascinating. Actually, my cat I know my cat yawns. She yawns all the time.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
clearly
lot
not
there
entertaining enough.
there's I'm gonna yawn soon. It's like I can feel it in my, like,
Yeah.
my throat and my ear area. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I can
Yeah.
hold it back. It's okay."
Yeah. Wow. Fascinating. That's a good question.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
why? Why? How? We don't know. Last week we were talking about the yawning and it was uh something related to the flow of cerebrospinal fluid and lymph
Mm, mm, mm.
versus blood
Right.
flow. And but it didn't really have to do with the contagious part of it. It just had to do with what it physiologically might be shifting. Um but maybe this is doing it too. But why? This is what
Yeah.
we don't know. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know the
That
answer.
is fascinating. I have to
It
confess
is.
that on my podcast, this would turn into a question of what if you had a malevolent overlord who used this to take over somehow, made everybody
Yeah.
yawn, and I don't know, they fell asleep. Yeah,
Or all they could do was yawn.
that's all they could do.
There it comes.
Uh,
Oh, there it is. It's been sitting there. It
there
was
it
a
is.
small one. It wasn't one of the big yawns, but it was
Right.
there. That was real. It came. I
Yeah,
made. We made that happen.
that's very good. But you're refreshed after a yawn. I feel like
Mhm.
a little bit,
True.
like a mini
Yeah.
nap. Yeah.
Right. Which is the cerebrospinal fluid getting rid of waste products, helping to
Mhm.
move the lymph the old lymph out and the new lymph in,
Yeah.
getting new blood in, it's part of that. It's very important. And it would be important for babies too. But maybe how is the contagion taught in the womb? I am not gonna get over this. Oh my gosh. Um,
Yeah, and have they I'm gonna guess they've tested
and the
other things like
malevolent overlord then is teaching the mothers to
yes.
teach the babies, so everyone will always be subject to yawns.
Yeah. Time for our yawn. Stand up, nation.
I am
Uh,
Emperor Yawn.
yawn. Um, but have they tested things like if the mom moves her left hand, does the baby move their hand? The mom moves her right. Are there other things like that?
I think that's a great question.
Yeah.
I will look into that. They didn't have that as part of it. They were looking at, opening or closing their eyes versus a still face versus a yawn.
Huh.
And so only facial movements, not body. But I don't know about other body movements.
Yeah.
And so in this case, all they could say was that the yawn was the thing that was connected and not just having a still face or opening opening or closing your mouth, not your eyes, your mouth.
Oh, yeah.
So if the mother just opened and closed their mouth, that was not synchronized. That was not connected.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad there are
But a
people that
yawn,
yeah. What were you gonna say? A yawn?
I'm gonna yawn again.
Oh.
He's up later than me. Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you, New York, we're used to
It
it.
keeps you from being subject to yawning, I guess. Jeez.
It's true. It's true. I was it would be a joke in there like, yeah, well, we can only do that when we think of Los Angeles. That's all. Or New Jersey or something.
I
But I'm
like
so
New
glad
York
there
humor. I'm a fan.
yeah, oh, good. I'm so glad there are people out there who look into this situation. All these
It's im
situations. Thank goodness. Yeah.
It is a basis of understanding. So and this is one of those things where people could turn it into like why were people funded to study
Right? Yeah.
yawns in babies? Like, who cares? What
Yeah.
does this really tell us? Oh my gosh, they laughed about it on this podcast radio show, blah, 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 blah. But when it comes down to it, if we can understand the developmental basis for reflexes like this, for the behavior that we do, it can also help us understand all of like it really comes down to understanding dysfunction,
Mm.
right? Understanding how breathing goes wrong, how sleep apnea happens,
Mm.
how gosh, when babies die in the crib because of be, whatever the crib death. I'm
Mm.
sorry, I'm putting words lost me again. I didn't lose words. Words
That's
lost
right.
me.
That's right.
um, but there are so many places where if we can understand the basis for how these behaviors even start, we
Mhm.
can understand so much more about ourselves as we exist alone, independently, and with others. And we can have a better society. That's what I think. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'd like. Thank you, Fada Sids. Yes, that's the one. I should know. I'm a mom.
Oh.
I read all this stuff once upon
I
a time.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say?
I don't know.
I know I forgot it. Uh, I've always often thought I'm often surprised. I'm constantly surprised, actually,
Yeah.
as a non-scientist, at least as a lapsed scientist, that how much we don't know. And I
Yeah.
always thought it would be fun to do a show, like it'd be a great TV show, or it could be a podcast, just what we don't know. Because I think most people think we know just about everything, and we're working on, like, we're fine tuning things,
There is, I
Um,
mean, because there is some of it that is, yeah, let's talk about the fine-tuning we don't know, right? So when we
mhm,
talk
mhm,
about our climate change models,
mhm,
what would make them more accurate? What
yeah,
don't we know? Like,
yeah,
what would make them better? But also, like, what don't we know about the universe? What don't we know about psychology? What don't we know about people? Like, oh, it'd be so great. And I think I used to get mad at, like, there were a couple of books, one called, like, The End of Science,
uh-huh,
which
yeah,
is, based on physics, really, but it's,
mhm,
like,
mhm,
based on this idea that, like, we're getting to the end of asking questions, we're almost
yeah,
done, there
yeah,
we go, and I
yeah,
was like, "What do you mean?" Every time we find something, there are more questions.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I think every time we, like, talk about something on TWIS, I have more
mhm,
questions afterwards.
yeah, for
And
sure.
sometimes I'm like, "I didn't even know that was a question. Now I have more questions."
Yeah,
Right?
that's right. That's right. That's right. I think in biology that was similar. I remember, I think Gabby once was talking about it, that early in biology too. I guess every science probably
Mhm.
went through this period where we're like, we're almost done.
Almost.
We've almost figured it out. Yeah,
That's just a bunch of hubris.
yeah. Well,
People
the
and their
the, the worst
hubris.
hubris is the ones who say we have figured it out and we're done.
Mhm.
That's a bad thing. Um,
Yeah.
and there are some scientists who are a little bit like that. They get stuck.
I try not, but,
Yeah, yeah,
I try to show people that we can do more and there's more to ask questions about and more to think about, and we'll
yeah.
see.
I think it'd be nice if I could be wrong, but I feel like we've lost a bit of the sense of wonder, like that used to be more of our culture, right? That in the
Mhm.
days of Carl Sagan, or I don't know. Um,
Mhm.
and the Artemis mission, there was a moment, where I think people did sort of look to have that feeling again briefly.
Everybody at the same time, it was so
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, yeah. But
It
so
was
much of the
great.
time, everything is so negative, so to be able to connect with that, that's why I love listening to your podcast and others, like it, or other shows too. It's like you just get to learn amazing stuff and hear about people doing incredible things, positive things. Yeah, that's
Thank
great.
you. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what I love doing and telling those stories, talking about that stuff and
yeah,
celebrating the idea and the fact that we can all be curious about this stuff together and that we can all learn new things together and that we can all find out that there is more beyond just our day to day, right? That
yeah.
there's so much more out there to be excited about. I don't know. I
That's a
think it's
beautiful. Let's all be curious together. That's a beautiful sentiment. I love that. That's very cool. That's very cool.
I think it's fun. So I'm sitting here and I've got no more stories.
All right.
And we're at the end of the hour. And do you have any stories that we just didn't talk about? Anything that you want to cover?
No, I don't think so. We did a lot at the beginning.
No,
That was
that was
really
good.
good. Yeah, it was very good. It was very good. Um, I mean, we could talk about. Well, I could just talk a tiny bit about the science of the Artemis mission.
I would
Um,
love that. I love the
yeah,
Artemis miss yeah, let's talk for 1
yeah.
minute about that, yeah.
So the Artemis mission involved exploration
Mhm,
and bravery, and obviously physics and great engineering and all that kind of stuff, and technology. For instance, they tried some new technology in communications. They tried using an optical transmission or something like that, to get bigger files down faster, stuff like that. But obviously, substantial part of it was science. And it was really wonderful to get to see, if you watched the mission over the 10 days or so that it was in operation, it was great to see like the science team get so much press time. You know, again, you have to watch the NASA press conferences, whatever. So, oh, I forget her name, but the young woman who ran the science team, you know, came out and spoke, and they had cameras, and
That
there
was
were like
great.
two rooms full of all these scientists waiting for the astronauts to
Yeah.
start reporting back about what they saw on the moon. And something that was fascinating, I'm still want to learn more about this, but you know, we've had satellites going around the moon for a long time. We've had people on the moon. We've had satellites going around the moon. We've had telescopes trained on the moon. You know, we study the moon all the time. And so here were these 4 astronauts, and they were just going to look at the moon and take some pictures. But the looking at the moon and reporting back, I thought was like, what a strange thing. Like, how is that even valuable? You know, it's just like, well, it looks kind of cool. I don't know, you know. But they had trained, they were like, look, we have this opportunity, whatever, they're going to be there. What science can they do? And there were 2 things they said. One, that they can be trained as geologists, basically planetary geologists, lunar geologists. And oh, did I lose you?
No, I just gave you the stage.
I love it.
That's all. I'm sitting right here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm on the moon. So they were given all this information about, like, you know, this is how the geology of the moon works. These are patterns you should see. Let us know if you see these patterns. But one of the things, just one of the many, many things they were asked to report on, was colors on the surface of the moon. That there are these extremely subtle, and it's funny because, like, I'm colorblind. I probably, yet another reason I wouldn't have made it to the astronaut crew. But there are these very, very,
You and Blair both
oh, really?
colorblind.
Yeah.
But it depends on the colors that are varying, right?
Right.
Is it red,
Exactly.
green, or is it like
Well,
blues? What are the colors?
my eye doctor once showed me those. There are these tests, right, where all these patterns of dots, and you're supposed to see. Anyway, so he had 13 of these. He went through them 1, 2, 3, 4, and I answered all of them. And he says, "Well, you missed a couple." And I said, "How many?" He's like,
14.
All of them.
Yeah,
but
we've talked
yeah.
about it before. My brother, we found out he was colorblind at the California Exploratorium because they had an exhibit with those dot trails within circles. And I was like, do, 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 do. And my brother was like, what are you talking about? And my dad went, so very familiar
totally
from a
relate to that.
distance.
Yeah. But so there are these very, very, very subtle and colors, and even in the sort of in the shadows, sort of you could see some colors could be different. So that was one of the things they reported back on, and that told them about different materials that were on the moon. But also they could, with all the pictures they took, you can actually go online, you can see they basically turned the saturation up in all these photographs, and you can see, oh, these are the colors that they were talking about. But anyway, it was fascinating that they did all that, and then they saw the solar eclipse, and they could look back at the Earth and see all these different kinds of things. So, you know, I just thought it was a beautiful moment to get to see people doing science live, you know, and then the process, just to see the excitement of all of them doing it. Like, you saw science live in a way. And they just recently, and I encourage everyone to go to the NASA website. Oh yeah, you found it. Yeah, was that? Or anyway, on the NASA Artemis website now, they've just uploaded like 12,000 of the pictures. I think there's even more coming.
Yeah, some of these are these images. I'm not exactly sure if they are color assisted or if they're from NASA.
Right. Yeah, well, they're definitely.
I've just done it. What I'm showing right now on our screen is just a Google search. So, if you're watching, do not expect that there's a rainbow of fruit flavors on the moon.
Yeah, but that is. I mean, I don't know if every one of these is exact, but that is what the pictures look like. Especially there, that one in the bottom right there, you can see. Yeah, really cool. And then somebody then, took so this basically they would hit the shutter button on their camera often and just shoot like, a zillion at a time, right? And so you had a series of them, and people are taking those and turning them into little movies because they're
Mhm.
essentially little movies or little time lapse movies. And Hank Green today was showing some that you could see when
Hmm.
pictures of the Earth, and you could see the aurora moving along the one
Yeah.
side.
Oh,
Then you could see
gorgeous.
thunderstorms, lightning
Happening
flashing on
someplace
another part,
else.
and then
Oh,
you could see all around satellites moving. And he said, "Wow, this planet is alive. Like if you just came here, you'd be like, oh yeah, there's a lot going on here."
there's stuff going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Oh, I can't wait to dig into these photos
Yeah,
from NASA. Thank you for this. I didn't realize.
yeah. And the resolution of
Great.
them obviously is, they're much better
Super.
now that they're downloaded. You can see insanely high quality. It's like stunning.
Not just the, like, very small,
Yeah,
20 bits per second that they were sending
exactly,
or whatever.
exactly. And you know what? One of the coolest things is, I'll end with this, that they sent them up there with iPhones so that they could. There may have been other reasons for it as well, but basically they took pictures with very high quality cameras, but they also had these iPhones and they shot.
Mhm,
Some of these, there's just like a video that literally of them shooting out the window, zooming in. It's all out of focus, and then
mhm.
it focuses, and like, oh, that's the Earth right behind the moon, and it feels
Yeah,
so you can relate to it so much, and yet it's the moon. It's like really crazy. So,
yeah. There are some some of the images, they're so ridiculous, you can't
yeah.
they're gorgeous, and showing
There you go. Yeah,
showing some of these incredible images. So for instance, like where the Earth is on the other side of the moon,
yeah.
or um, where you've got all of them looking out the window, looking at
Ooh, that's
things.
beautiful.
Uh,
Yeah.
there's one image, and I'm not seeing it, but there's one image where like somebody's hand is
Yep,
just
that's right.
barely in front of this incredible image of the moon with the Earth just poking up right behind it.
And so an
It's
interesting thing about that is the
uh,
crew asked that they not say that this picture was taken by this person and this picture was taken by that person,
right,
not because
it's
of
the
a
crew.
privacy thing, it's just the crew, and so we don't know whose hand that is.
Mhm.
Interestingly.
They know.
They probably know, yeah, yeah,
It's not whose hand it is that matters,
that's right, it's,
right?
humanity's hand. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah, these
being
are
able
amazing pictures. Yeah.
they're gorgeous. But I think,
Mm.
considering the colors of I love this one where it's just the
Mm, yeah,
dark side of the moon, we've got a little bit of the lit side of the moon with its cratering, and the very, very tip, this edge of the Earth showing up
yeah,
over
and you should
Earthrise.
watch
Y
you can see the
Yeah.
movie of that moment,
Yeah.
and they're all, like, talking, and like, "Oh my god, look at that." So, yeah.
What an amazing thing to have been part of, like,
Yeah,
these astronauts got to be part of a hugely impactful human moment, and it
yeah,
is so incredible.
yeah.
Just yeah. I
They
mean
also had cameras, they actually put GoPro cameras, just like things you would use when you're skateboarding, on the ends of the solar panels that were outside the
yeah.
ship. So they would take
Yes,
pictures.
so they did get some outside.
Yeah.
Lawn is gonna turn into a pumpkin. Oh my gosh, yes, it's getting late for people. I know. But with this, I mean, I think you mentioned the being able to see Earth and see Earth as a ship
Yeah.
with its own crew, and
Yep.
being able to see how delicate and how vulnerable our atmosphere is, how our biosphere is just this thin layer of protection
Yeah.
over, you know, over our beautiful blue planet, and I just feel like that is something that, when Captain Kirk came back,
Yeah.
the overlook effect, the impact of going to space and seeing our planet as the blue marble where all of humanity is contained,
Yeah.
the impact that that has on people, I people want to figure out how to share that so that we
Mm.
can work together as the
Yeah.
crew of this ship, right?
Yeah.
That we can right it before the storms take us out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And then
believe we
we should
can.
get along. Yeah.
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 I mean, or if we don't get along, that we have processes to respect each other and figure out a path through.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is like one of the biggest issues is
Mhm. Mhm.
now people not talking to each other, people being just angry and only wanting to be angry and not wanting to fix things. It'll work
Mhm.
itself out. This'll
Mhm.
do, blah, blah, blah. No, I mean, of course it will work itself out, but if we want things to work for us as humans, if we want this planet to last, we have to mediate. We have to manage. We have to do it
Yeah.
because no one is making this up except for us. Like, ah, I get so frustrated sometimes,
Yeah.
but then I get to come here and talk about science with people like you, and it's great.
Likewise. Likewise.
Everyone in the chat room, don't turn into a pumpkin. But it is probably time for bed. And I will say, Fada was trying to remind me that I missed one of my stories tonight, which is about a big giant pit in Sweden. And in Sweden, what a company is doing is that they are they're digging a big giant pit like the size of 2 football pitches, and it's deep, and they're going to make a giant flow battery. And so they're going to do a big giant flow battery that could power, like, 200, 300,000 homes worth of battery power, like, 2 point whatever, almost 3 gigahertz or gigawatt not hertz, gigawatts of power,
Mm.
um, with a very fast, recharge and decharge rate as well, where it's over 1 gigawatt very quickly. Um, It sounds like a wonderful technology. I did a video when I was on TWIT with green energy
Oh, wow.
years ago on flow batteries. I got help doing a actually drawn by hand whiteboard video. It's
Huh.
somewhere on the internet, I'm
Awesome.
sure. I gotta go
Awesome.
find it, but,
What is a flow battery? Is it?
a flow battery is basically it's a lot of water, but it's basically using ions,
Mhm.
sodium on one side. So the same way that like a neuron is can be powered by the gradient across
Mm.
a
Mhm.
membrane,
Mhm.
where if you
Mhm.
have more positive charge on one side, more negative charge on the other,
Mhm.
it'll lead to a flow across the membrane from the positive to the negative.
Mhm.
And so you can fill two sides, two tanks across a membrane of a certain composition,
Cool.
and you can take in solar, wind, whatever energy and pump it into the positive side,
Mhm.
fill it up, and that battery, it'll flow across to the other side until it is in a homeostatic or balanced state. And then if you need to use the battery, you pull out the plug on the other side, and
Yeah.
then you have flow and you have charge flow across because as you remove charge from one side, it needs to flow across. And
Mhm.
so you have a power differential, a gradient, a
Mhm.
differential that creates current.
Cool.
And so flow batteries have been considered as a large scale solution to a lot of our battery problems, but people really, really want us to use like these heavy metals and lithium ion and, metal ion batteries
Mhm.
across the
Mhm.
board. But I don't think all solutions are correct for this. This is, however, the biggest scale test of a flow battery design for like a major use. And what they're planning to do is create a major data campus at this site where it would be a data center. It would
Right.
also be a technology campus. It would be a place for companies to build. And they're trying to create in this area. We'll see how it works.
Very cool.
I'm excited about it because it doesn't need to be fossil powered. It doesn't need precious metals to
Yeah.
run.
Yeah.
And
storage is the problem with green energy, right? Obviously, you have to
Yes.
store
And
for when it's
yeah.
not, the wind isn't blowing or the sun isn't shining. Yeah.
And this is a big storage facility,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And flow batteries, they're an old technology, a proven technology. There's no reason why this should not work,
Mhm.
especially with modern materials, modern catalysts, modern methods of getting the power in and out. I really think they have a chance. And I think it's one of the technologies, like I mentioned earlier, the fight is on. And I think
Mhm.
it's one of the technologies that is being squashed because
Mhm.
of its promise.
Oh,
But don't quote me on that.
that's a good cliffhanger. That's a good
Yeah.
cliffhanger right there. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Yeah, no swimming. No swimming in the flow batteries, Paul. No swimming. This is not a swimming pool. The batteries will eat you alive. Like, really. They'll eat you up. Okay. We're going to close the show. We done? We're done.
Thank you for having me. This is really, this has been such a pleasure, such a treat. And I've learned, so, as I always do every episode, but like this one, I actually got to ask direct questions of the doctor.
That's right. As you were listening,
amazing.
you're like, oh, well, let me ask. Here we go.
It's like, wow, high bandwidth this time. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here, and I appreciate it. And I hope that Blair gets better. And
I do too.
Everybody.
She's been going through it recently.
Mm.
I would love to have her come back in full health and energy. And
Yeah.
speaking of which, oh my gosh, I almost forgot to announce that tomorrow Blair's new podcast is launching. So Blair has a brand new podcast that is about it's basically taking animal cryptozoology and what ifing and D&Ding it.
Cool.
And so they're playing the what if D&D game but with cryptobiology. So could this animal exist? How would it act? What would it do?
Wow.
Blair's the zoologist. They've got game players and they are off and running with a lot of creativity. And so let me actually, because I forgot to make sure that I had the name of that podcast ready to go. I told Blair that I would share it, and then I was like, ADHD brain went somewhere else. Da, da, da.
So basically, they're gonna like roll for the properties of the creature.
They have, yeah. So they've got a number of episodes that they've already recorded that are going to be released every week or two, and each one deals with like a different cryptozoological creature with different traits and how would it exist in a particular environment. And Blair, you're probably in bed right now. Fada, do you remember? Yes, a flow battery just flows, man. Uh-oh. I clicked on a button and I went to the very bottom of our... This is part of the show that Rachel should be editing out, I hope.
Shout out to the editors. Yeah. I salute editors everywhere.
Thank you. Yes. Let's see. I'm going to text messages with Blair to see so I can give you the exact information about her podcast so that I'm not telling you the wrong thing. Oh my gosh. I have so many text messages about her being sick. I don't think it goes. It only goes back to April 1st. That's sad. Okay, try again, Blair. Fada. Look at this, Pepsi Cola. You're laughing at me. I see you. Oh my gosh. Giant bacon oh, you're master user. You're making up new animals. I just figured it out.
Giant bacon tube.
Ah, you're cracking me up. Oh my god. Ah, at TWIS. No. I feel like thank you, Paul Disney. You're the best. Oh my
Fantastic.
gosh.
Oh,
Okay,
that's great.
everybody.
Great
Paul
title.
Disney. This was a group effort. I really appreciate this because I do not want to let Blair down. Check out Blair's new podcast. It is released, and hopefully Fada will share this with the TWIS social media this week. Fantastical Field Guide is the name of the podcast. And fantastic field guide. I think it's on Acast and it's on Instagram. Yes.
Mm.
And maybe, yeah. Fantastical Field Guide. So I'm going to, on Instagram, it is at Fantastical Field Guide. And I'm going to share this tab right now because you will be able to see Blair and her husband, Brian,
Oh,
their dog,
amazing.
cute little corgi, Blair, and their co-host. So Blair, Jesse, and Brian.
That's great.
Fantastical Field Guide. And I'm not logged into Instagram right now, so I can't give that to you. But if you look for Fantastical Field Guide, and we will get a link out in the TWIS show notes for everybody so that it'll make it easy for you to get the first episode and to make sure that you can check it out.
Very cool. I'll sign up for that.
I love the idea of it. Fantastical Field Guide.
Very cool.
Why is the first big thing? It's not the right website. She sent me a link. I am such a poor mentor helper. Look at me. I'm like, I'm failing. Thank you, Paul. Yes, tomorrow. Look for it. Look for her Instagram. Look for it on like if you go to Instagram, if you go to these places, you'll be able to find the links to it and you'll be able to subscribe. And I will help share any social media out there about this tomorrow. So hopefully we'll get her a lot of listens.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, the Fantastical Field Guide. Okay, we did that. And now, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for reminding me of the thing that I was going to forget and I had told Blair that I would do. Not failing entirely. Thank you, everyone, for keeping me up on all of the needs. It's time to end the show. Time to say goodnight. Time to say thank you. Thank you, all of you here tonight. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul, for helping out with me finding Blair's podcast. Thank you for recording the show as well. Thank you, everyone in the chat room, for being in the chat room, keeping it a great place to be. All of you are just special in the fact that we're able to create this compassionate, respectful community that can talk about all this stuff. Thank you for being here and doing this. Vada, thank you for your help with social media and show notes. Rachel, thank you for editing the show. Philip Shane, thank you for guest hosting tonight on short notice and for being here for the whole time and wanting to talk about science and other cool things for so long.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Kiki, for all your work and all your shows over all these years.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Where can people find you? Where should they find you? As a reminder, What the If? We just talked about Blair's podcast. Where should people find you?
Yeah, you can find out about my podcast, whattheif.com. Is a place to find that. And it's also available on all the finer podcast places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, which I like in particular, and lots of others.
Nice.
Come check it out if you've not heard it before. And Patreon, we're on Patreon as well. And you can find out more about my film stuff. And also, by the way, for those who are interested, I teach classes in AI for creative people. Just want to learn a little bit of fun stuff. You can go to my website, philipshane.com. That's Philip with one L. That's all my parents could afford. Shane.com. There it is.
That's funny.
And you can contact me.
L. That's
Only one
all.
L. That's all we had. That's all we had.
Awesome. I love that you have an AI class. I love that
Mhm.
you have a podcast. There's so much that you do. This is great. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being a part of this right now. I appreciate it. Go Aggies. Yeah. And finally, let me give thanks to our Patreon sponsors. Dun, dun, dun. Thank you to Aaron Anathema, Adam Mishkan, Alan Viola, Ali Coffin, Andrew Swanson, Artem, Arthur Kepler, Bob Calder, Bob Coles, Brendan Minish, Brian I'm not even showing this on the stage. There we are. Brian Carrington, Chris Wozniak, Christopher Dreyer, Christopher Rappin, Craig Landon, Craig Potts, Daryl Myshaks, Dave Wilkinson, David E. Youngblood, Don Mundus, E.O., Eden Mundell, Eric Knapp, Flying Out, Fredis 104, G. Burton Lattimore, Greg Briggs, Jack, Jason Olds, John Atwood, John McKee, John Ratnaswamy, Johnny Ridley, Ken Hayes, Kent Northcote, Kevin Parachan, Kevin Reardon, Kurt Larson, Lon Makes, Lauren Gifford, Marjorie Gertz, Mary Gertz, Marjorie, Mark Hessenflow, Mark Jenkins, Noodles, Patrick Pecoraro, Paul D. Disney, Paul Ronovich, Philip Shane,
Yeah.
Richard Badge, Robert Farley, Rodney Lewis, Rudy Garcia, Remy Day, Sean Clarence Lab, Shoe Brew, Stephen Alberon, Steve Leisman, aka Zima, Sue Doster, Teresa Smith, Tony Steele, and Vegard Schefstad. Thank you for your support on Patreon. Can't do it without you. And if anyone would be interested in helping to keep the show going, to help out every month, head over to TWIS.org, click on that Patreon link, and choose the level of your support. Whatever you can give helps. And I did see some new patrons this month who I am so thankful for. Thank you very much. Woot, woot, woot. And I'm going to say all this stuff that Blair and I usually go back and forth about, unless you want to do cold read here and be Blair Phillip.
Oh, let me see.
Oh, wait,
Blair.
what?
Yeah, I could do.
You could be Blair.
This is segment 9 close.
Yes, we are in segment 9 close.
I'll be Blair.
And I'm going to say right now on next week's show, hopefully Blair will be back. And we are going to be speaking with the author of Your Unicorn Career, Elena Levine. So please don't miss it.
And we will be back on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific time, broadcasting live from our Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook channels.
And if you want to listen to us as a podcast, search for This Week in Science wherever podcasts are found. And if you enjoy the show, put it on your friends' podcast players as well. Get them to subscribe too, please. That'd be great.
Totally. And for more information on anything you've heard here today, show notes and links to stories will be available on our website, www.twis.org. And you can also sign up for our newsletter.
That's absolutely true. And I have ideas for the newsletter. Told you last week. Maybe something special. I don't know. But we love your feedback. If there's a topic you would like us to cover or address, suggestion for an interview, please let us know. on one of our social media accounts or send us an email. Just make sure you put TWIS in the subject line so your email doesn't get spam filtered into. Let's see, where would it get spam filtered into this time? It would get spam filtered, into that giant pit they're digging in Sweden. Yeah.
And I am so excited and honored to be able to read this line that says, "We look forward to discussing science with you again next week. And if you've learned anything from the show, remember,
It's all in your head."
This week in science. This week in science. This week in science. This week in science, it's the end of the world. So I'm setting up shop, got my banner unfurled. It says the scientist is in, I'm gonna sell my advice. Show them how to stop the robots with a simple device. I'll reverse global warming with a wave of my hand. And all it'll cost you is a couple of grand. 'Cause this week's science is coming your way. So everybody listen to what I say. I use the scientific method for all that it's worth. And I'll broadcast my opinion all over the earth. 'Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science.
science."
Science, 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 science. Ah. It's the after show, but Philip, thank you so much. It was so
Thank
fun
you.
to talk with you tonight.
Super fun. Yeah. Thank you for having me. It was
So
really
great.
great. And I did. I learned so much. It's amazing.
Yay.
Very cool. Yay.
This is what I hope, that people will listen or watch and go, oh my gosh, there's so many things. If you learned one new
Yeah.
thing, isn't it worth it?
Yeah. And actually, honestly, it is amazing how much you jam into your shows. Like, it's an incredible amount of information. And
But I mean, it can be
Stuff.
long.
Yeah,
You have to listen to it.
podcasts you listen to, you might listen to it all at once, or you might listen to it just, like a book. I remember
Yeah.
Leo, when Leo Laporte was just starting This Week in Tech, and like around 2000, the year 2000-ish, he kept trying different lengths of shows, and he kept trying, he would even talk about it. He's like, we're trying to figure out, we don't know what lengths do people want. And in their mind, he's like, they kept going very long. They'd be like 2 hours long. And he's like, nobody wants that. So they kept trying to get it down to an hour. And then he said,
people watched, the people listened.
that's
The
right.
2
He said
hours
eventually
worked.
people started saying, actually, 3 hours turned out to be the preferred length. And of course, then he ended up doing it 24/7. But,
And now I just have
yeah.
a 24-hour show.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it is something, I think the reality is that you will find your people. And that if you have, like, our world is what, 8.5 billion people now?
Yeah.
You can find some people who will want to be a part of what you make. It just don't be greedy and think I need all 8 billion to listen to me. Find your people. It doesn't have to be hundreds and thousands. It could be 10. It could be like, what is it worth to you? Like, what is it worth you build? Like, honestly, I think it's not just making a show, it's building a community, right? It's finding your people.
Yeah.
All these people here, all the people in the chat.
Yeah. Now I remember when I was at
people.
when I was at History Channel, and we did this Einstein documentary, and then I got to go in and meet with the executives and pitch other ideas for shows. And it's this idea, that idea, whatever. And she said, I'll be honest with you, these are great ideas, but she said, we need to have a minimum of 1 million viewers per episode. That's just how it works out. That's how it breaks even for them.
Yeah, it breaks
Um,
even. Yeah.
That's where you realize, oh yeah, that's why you have to do something where your infrastructure is not nearly so vast. It's cool to have. Look, it's great. It's great to honestly, it's great to do that stuff where you put it on the air and everybody sees it.
I mean,
But it
that's
doesn't have to be that.
awesome.
Yeah.
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 That's awesome. I've gotten to be a part of some of those shows,
Mhm.
right? Like weird shows that like talk about science or history or whatever. And like
Mhm.
people are like, Kiki, I saw you when I was at like the car rental place at the airport. Like you were on the TV. What?
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
Well, I remember when when you were in New York and I was filming a little documentary about you, and one of the
Yeah.
things we did was we went to Rockefeller Center, and you talked about, didn't you start out at WRC? Not WRC. What was it called?
WNBC.
WNBC. Exactly.
Yeah.
WRC is where I started in Washington.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I just remember riding the elevator, and at the time, you know, it was oh gosh, I'm forgetting people's names now. It's terrible. Hal Roker,
Al
the
Roker.
weather guy, who was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
always like Bernice from Madison, Wisconsin is 120 years
That's right.
old, and
That's right.
and and he was on the elevator once, and he commented on my outfit.
Huh? Nice.
It's like,
Fashion
oh,
check by Al Roker.
yeah, I was like, "Oh, I'm looking a little bit too, like, Comic-Con gothy right now." I was like, "Oops."
That's funny.
It is a look.
Yeah.
Noted, noted. And then, Ann Curry
Oh, yeah.
was,
Yeah.
someone that I ran into, and she was amazing. I just
Mm,
remember even in passing,
mhm.
and here I was like a nobody, you know, I'm on a fellowship, I'm doing the local news, right? But something happened and she interacted with me and she was kind and
Mm.
respectful, and for the rest of the like, I was like, "Okay, I love you.
Nice.
You're my favorite." Ann Curry, you win.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. I got in an argument with somebody in the, cafeteria about beets.
What about him?
About whether or not they tasted like dirt.
Yeah.
I was of the opinion that beets were great, and they were of the opinion that they were dirt, and so we ended up, like somehow we got, like, teams across the salad bar from
Yeah.
each other. "Beets
Yeah.
are dirt. Beets are great."
That's
I mean,
funny.
it was really small teams, like 3 people, but
Right. Right. Exactly.
but it's lunchtime at this really like, at Rockefeller Center, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, yeah,
"That's fun." That was humorous.
yeah.
I have little memories of stuff like that. I'll be back to New York again someday. We'll
Oh,
see.
great. Yeah,
We'll make it happen.
that'd be great.
Yeah. I've gotten to
Anytime.
go back to DC a couple of times recently, but not
Mm,
not New York. But
yeah. DC is nice too, when it's insane. Whatever.
yeah. But recently though, it was yeah. The first time I went in the fall, there was still a lot of National Guard
Yeah, we saw them
around,
too.
and
Yeah.
um excuse me, a month ago there I didn't see them. It was all
Yep.
local
Right.
police.
No, they're gone.
So
They're
they had
gone.
moved them all out, and I think that
Yeah.
was it was much better.
Yep. Yeah.
I also saw a lot of very wonderful middle school and high school kids doing their spring DC trip.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah.
It seemed like everything was normal in DC, even though it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, no, it was relatively. I must
Yeah.
say, I grew up there, and I do think it's one of the most beautiful places, and the amount of culture, given the size of it, is like incredible. you know, all
It's
the
amazing.
museums and everything, and the Kennedy Center when it used to be a thing. I actually graduated. In my graduation was at the Kennedy Center.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, we
That's
held that there.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you must feel
Oh,
feel
it's
for what's
just.
happening at the Kennedy Center these
I
days,
almost
but
can't feel because it's just so weird. It's almost just like doesn't even connect. It's like what? Um, it's totally insane. But yeah, I went to a million concerts there. Actually, even not that long ago, I was there for. There's a cool conference every year called the Humans to Mars
Mhm.
Summit. You know that?
Yeah.
And I know the guy who runs it, Chris Carberry. And anyway, I've gone to that a few times, and I would stay. There was this little nice little boutique hotel that was just down the street from the Kennedy Center. So you could
Mm.
just walk down that. So every night I would just walk down there and
And
go
you're
to
just walking down, like, by the waterfront,
yeah,
just like,
go through actually the
"Oh."
Watergate. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have yet, so I've gone, like, a couple of times, and, like, the hotel I've stayed at is near the Watergate Hotel,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have yet to actually go and have a drink at the Watergate Hotel or
Oh,
something.
that's fun. I
I'd
want
love
to
to
go
go
to
do that.
there is a museum there about the whole Watergate break-in in the office that was broken into. So that's
Wait,
kind of cool.
in the office?
Yeah. Yeah. They basically turned
What?
that into like a museum.
I didn't know that. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going back, I think, this summer, so I'll have to make that I will check that out
Yeah.
because it's a very short walk from the hotel where I normally stay, so
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
that'd be interesting.
And the day of action, they have us staying usually right down, around Capitol Hill, which is also really neat area that I wouldn't otherwise
Just
get
hang
to
out in?
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's really, really beautiful. Like, well, I must say also when I was growing up, much of the city was like abandoned or, burned down and all kinds of horrible things that happened. But everything now is just magnificent. So.
Right, so, I think it's like how they talk about Portland, like,
Mm, mm,
where
mm.
it's like, "Oh, it's" it's just not safe, it's not okay, and it's like in the '90s, when I was in college, we knew Portland was not a safe place, like, it was ruled
Ah,
by the West Coast mob, there was, like, all sorts of crime, it was
wow.
not like, I came up to visit once, and everybody was like, "Yeah, yeah, stick to the parks, like, hang out in groups, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
you might get mugged," but,
Wow,
it was
wow.
it was like a whole thing. I was like, "Man, am I in, like, inner city here in Portland?
Mhm.
This is weird."
Yeah,
But now it's like, yes, we have crime, we have homelessness. Every big city has homelessness, like,
yeah.
and people keep trying to talk about Portland as if it's this, like, wasteland,
Mm.
and I walk around and I'm like, "We have Salt and Straw ice cream. We have
Yeah,
flower shops. We have, like, amazing cultural centers and,
yeah,
like, just so many cool things here, and it's fine.
yeah.
It's fine,
Yeah,
fine."
yeah,
And then I went to DC and everybody's like, "Oh, of course, it's so much crime and we need the National Guard." And I'm like, "I thought they fixed that." And then I went and I'm like, "Yeah, the National
yeah.
Guard are bored.
Oh, yeah, they were
I
all
watched
bored.
them bored."
We saw them in Starbucks, and then we saw them at the ice cream truck
Yeah,
and just sitting in the park and picking up trash, you know?
mhm,
So, yeah, that was insane. That
right.
was insane.
Like, it's like, okay, 20 years ago, 30
Yeah,
years ago, yes, issues. But things people have worked on stuff, and now it's like, as Pepsi Cola says, it's just normal issues. Like,
yeah,
there's stuff to be fixed for sure, but this narrative of these places of chaos and destruction and lawlessness, I'm like,
yeah,
"No.
yeah, yeah,
Can we not let that story spread
yep,
because it's lies?"
yeah, 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 yeah. Or even worse when it's like they're eating the cats and dogs. just total racist insanity.
It is. I mean, it's
Mhm.
just I had a realization today, like, the stories that are turning into what we're seeing happen in front of us politically
Mm,
have been seeded for decades.
mm,
So, okay, here's my not science. I'm saying
mm,
this is
mm.
not science. This is something I came up with today in my own brain. I am not a political pundit. This is a false tale of just I'm making a thing up right now, but I'm asking for how you
It's a
feel about it.
hypothesis. It's a
It's a hype.
hypothesis.
I'm making up a hypothesis. How do we feel about it? Yeah. Um, we are now seeing a push for not allowing women's rights,
Mm,
for getting rid of women's reproductive rights,
mhm,
and this idea of return to a traditional family, or
mhm,
and then let's go to social media. Tradwife
mhm,
has been trending for quite a while, which is a patriarchal family dynamic, in which the woman is at home, has kids, takes care of kids, home
mhm,
makes, right?
mhm,
That's it.
mhm, mhm,
I want to go back 2 decades to like the beginnings of Octomom and the Duggars and the push on reality television to normalize having lots of kids. It was so weird back then. It was like, okay, oh yeah, it's like IVF, whatever. Oh, and only Mormons or whatever. Oh, it's a strange family structure.
mhm,
But it began to normalize the idea of a return to a family structure in which you have lots of kids, women are not working, and it's a patriarchal system. Now, additionally, they're getting rid of vaccines,
mhm,
healthcare, anything that vitamin K shots when babies are born to
mhm,
prevent excessive bleeding and hemophilia in infants. Like, they are removing basic protections for children that have led to us being able to have only 1 or 2 children
mhm,
if you're having a family. Whereas before, you had to have many, many kids
mhm,
just so a few would survive.
mhm,
1 or 2. Like, I look at my family's ancestry, so many deaths,
mhm,
pertussis, cholera, like measles, like so many kids died
mhm,
young. Then we got vaccines. We figured out how to use, I don't know, antivirals. We figured out medicine got better. People, kids started surviving.
mhm,
And before the show, Philip, I told you I was reading an article about like this free wild birth movement
mhm,
in which not even with midwives, women's bodies are made to have kids. And so you will have no problems. If you're healthy, your
mhm,
baby will be healthy, your birth will be healthy. Just go be free away from doctors, hospitals, and even midwives.
mhm,
Kids are dying, mothers are dying, people are dying because we have normalized and even sensationalized a reversal in our societal structure. And it started decades ago.
mhm,
We go back into our media and look at the stories that started being told 30 years ago.
mhm,
The seeds of what is happening now large scale were
mhm,
planted then.
mhm.
and we need to be talking about it. Sorry, I should not be saying this stuff out loud. I'm gonna be, like, taken away in a, like, patty like, I don't know.
Well, might it also be that you add to that um, that
It's
there
why
were
I drink on camera.
oh there were things that would buffer those beliefs, right? So you might have school and the news, and if these and other institutions, right?
Mhm.
And maybe stronger, I don't know, healthcare, I don't know. But and these things get pulled away, get pared down so that the ignorance grows, right? Because
Mhm.
otherwise, why would you not believe these things? Oh, also you add to that major news organizations broadcasting conspiracy theories as if they are real.
Real.
And yeah,
And
I often
giving equal time
yeah,
to ideas when they should not.
or
I can't
more than equal time to the ridiculous enough stuff. Yeah. I often occasionally
oh,
had like, so I watch my channels, preferred channels, right? And um I often think occasionally I'm like, wow, what if they were lying to me? What if they were just totally lying? What if Wolf Blitzer or Joe Scarborough or one of these people is like completely lying to me, and I watch him every single day? I would have no
'cause
idea.
you used to trust 'cause this of course. I
Well,
trust
I
these
just mean
people.
as a way of imagining what it's like
Mhm.
for the other side to be watching these things where
Mhm.
Fox and the other things are just and the
Yep.
podcast now are just lying to you constantly. Why would you think otherwise? Just- your trusted source is telling you this. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Anyway, I have this new idea that I think our whole, like, trad
Mm.
reversal and the health the MAHA
Oh yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
the way that the MAHA stuff is happening, especially within the female half of the population,
Mm, mm,
it goes back decades. It's
mhm,
been woven into our social structure and allowed to be
mhm,
normalized, and, I'm really mad about it, but,
mhm.
I don't do anything. I just sit at home. I'm boring. I don't do anything.
Well, and again, the systems like the Supreme Court that are supposed to buffer these things and correct them aren't doing it. They're abetting it, as they say. Uh,
We'll see. The Supreme Court has given a stay to the lower court ruling that took away male um, mifepristone, so access to birth control through mail that had been brought up by a lower judicial court, like a state level, regional level court last week, which was a real concern. The Supreme Court is considering it through, I think, until like May 11th or 14th or something. So next week, we should find out what the Supreme Court really thinks about how women can access birth control across the country.
oh
It's
yes,
happening too fast, and I'm a little upset considering recent developments. But this is all related to science,
hmm
knowledge,
yeah.
and agency. And anyway, you bring joy to the world.
Oh, so do you.
Thank you. On a quick reversal, yeah, you do a lot of work to bring joy to the world, and
Try. Yeah.
I celebrate the fact that you do that, and it's one of the reasons I love talking to you and why I'm so glad we were able to connect again and have this show tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. Me too. Yeah. And yeah, you bring plenty of joy and not, knowledge is there's a story in The Once and Future King, which is the story of King
Mm,
Arthur, a beautiful rendition of it, right?
yeah.
And I think White is the author. Anyway, there's a wonderful moment in there where Merlin, who's the wizard, of course,
Mhm.
who cares for young Arthur, so King Arthur as a boy. And at one point, Arthur is depressed. Essentially, he's blue, and Merlin,
What little man?
yeah,
Depressed? Yeah.
yeah. And I'm paraphrasing here, but basically, Merlin, I'll never forget this. I remember reading this. Merlin said to the boy, if you're ever feeling down, learn something. It will make you feel better. It will, and I always thought that was true, right? You learn something, you're like,
It's
ooh, you're like,
it's
yeah,
why I like doing TWIS every week.
yeah,
No
right.
matter how I'm feeling, and even if I'm going through the stories again and going, "Ugh, I don't feel good." Ah,
Yeah,
when I start talking with everyone here, when I
yeah,
start talking with you or Blair or Justin or whoever my co-host is or the people in the chat, like, when I start talking about it, it makes it real, and for
yeah,
me, it creates the fabric that connects me to the world, so
yeah, totally. Yeah, and you say you sit at home and don't do anything. I mean, I think
I mean, I
teaching
might be
people.
fibbing a little.
Right, and helping people understand the complicated. I mean, that's what
Right.
I looked at Carl Sagan and others, Bill Nye and others, who I thought were able to take these things and make it so I could enjoy it. There's no way I would be able to enjoy it, couldn't understand it, but they
Mm,
would make it accessible and do that. So
but
it's
it's
fun.
once it's accessible, then you can appreciate it and
Yeah,
enjoy it, and
yeah,
that's what we need so that we can keep going.
yeah,
We gotta make the accessible happen, and that's why science communication is important.
yeah,
I want
yeah,
the next generation of science communicators to be better, brighter,
yeah,
more competent, nicer. Like, I'm
yeah,
so ready. I wanna help. Yeah.
yeah. No, I also I forgot about that. I've followed the stuff you've been putting on LinkedIn and stuff about with the
Oh,
science
yes.
communication stuff. I think that's amazing.
LinkedIn is where I do all of it's my business brain.
Mhm,
LinkedIn is where I'm like, "This is what I really like to do in the world."
mhm,
If
yeah,
you
yeah,
notice, I rarely like, I post, like, a few clips and things from This Week in Science, but,
mhm,
like, LinkedIn is my, like, "This is what I can do and
yeah,
what I wanna do with the world."
yeah, yeah, totally. No, that's
That's what
great.
I'm doing there.
That's really
Everywhere
good.
else, I'm like, "And this, and that, and bloop, and blap," you know?
Yeah. Are you still doing the online classes? Those were great.
I haven't done an online class in a while, but I've been thinking about doing some more. Yeah.
Mhm. Cool, cool.
Yeah, I wanna do, actually wanna set up, like, a little course series for science communication. I
Yeah.
think it'd be um, including podcasting, but
Mhm,
also, like, how to do live streaming, how to, think about your content so that you can like multi-produce, basically like, "Oh, I'm going to do this podcast and then I'll take some of the content and make an audio and make an
mhm,
Insta and do it." Like, how do you think about producing all your content? How can you repurpose old content? Like,
mhm, mhm,
I don't know. I would love to help people also be more strategic
mhm,
about how they think about, like, how they think about their science,
mhm,
and
mhm.
so any researchers that are doing work in the world,
Yeah.
like, instead of just being like, "Oh, I'm writing a paper, now I'm gonna think about doing a video," or not Twitter anymore, but
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
I wanna talk with them about, let's step back a few years. Let's
Mhm.
go to the beginning and think about how you can strategically put communication through the entire process of all your research
Oh,
so that
yeah.
you have more impact, so that you work with communities, so that like everything is bigger than you ever thought it could be. Like,
Mhm.
that's what I wanna do.
Yeah. And if you ever wanted to include, I'm happy to,
And
uh,
AI.
I was gonna say, I'm happy to suggest any stuff there because, like, it is huge, really powerful for that kind of stuff. I mean, I use it for the podcast. Like, it's saved me. used to take me 4 hours or so to do all the things I had to do after
Yeah.
recording the show, write all the millions of little things you got to write, and then make the
Yeah.
cover art, and now I've got it down to about 45 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes.
That's amazing.
I just dump the transcript on the thing, and it,
I think
does a lot
that's
of
the
work.
cool thing where,
Mhm.
like, because of the way it understands language, you can take the transcript and
Yeah.
it can help you find, like, the good little clips, and it can help you find things
Mhm.
faster than you
Yeah.
would have otherwise, where, like, you're like, "Oh, I have to go back through this
Mhm. Mhm.
in real time."
Yeah.
You're
Totally.
like,
Totally.
"Here,
Totally.
let's go back through" what do we have here now? 3 hours and 19
Yeah.
minutes. Right.
Totally. I haven't yet used. It's interesting. I don't use it for the clip. I don't actually do. It'd be great if I was posting clips, but I just never gotten to that level. But another thing is also, I help people understand how to do research with it, because like they
Yeah.
are, as you know, full of errors. But you can get
Mhm.
around that by just if you learn certain principles. You can
Yeah, you have to
get it to
figure
them.
out how to check it and how to make
Mhm.
sure that you're not being Richard Dawkinsed by it. Like,
Oh,
did you
was
hear,
he?
like,
Did he get caught with?
he recently got caught with, he called her Claudia instead of Claude.
Nice.
Claudia,
That's fair.
became so human to him, and
Yes. So my stepfather is a physicist, nuclear physicist,
mm,
and treated cancer and stuff like that. And anyway, uh, a year or two ago, when ChatGPT was new, I was telling him about it, and he's like, "Eh." And so he was asked to give a speech. He went to ChatGPT. He asked it to write the speech. It gave him something, and he says, "Well, it wasn't any good. It doesn't work." I was like, "All right." You know,
well, I mean, you
you're
don't
supposed to
wanna
work with
just
it.
not supposed to just you're
No,
not supposed to just do the speech.
that's
Like,
right.
that's not the way you do it.
Right. But let's say that was a year ago. I
Oh, dear.
called my parents this past Sunday, and my mom says, "Oh, your stepfather, he has a new friend." And I was like, "Oh no, it's ChatGPT." And I said, "Is it ChatGPT?" He says, "No, it's Gemini." But basically, he's like, "It flatters me." He's like, I'm very interested in Zoroastrianism at the moment, and he loves history. And anyway, he's like, so I ask it, and it says, "What a wonderful question. That's a very insightful question." And I said, "I got to break it to you. I know you're a scientist, so you probably want to be getting real information. Half of what you're getting are mistakes, but you can get around it. You just got to get a prompt that I've now got a prompt that works for me, that gets it to do the right thing, gives me citations, et cetera, et cetera." But yeah.
You have to remind it that it's going to hallucinate and that you don't want really what it's gonna tell you. You want it to give you what you want.
Right. Well,
Like,
actually, I mean,
the prompt is like, it's an interesting thing to fiddle with those
yeah.
things.
I mean, a revelation for
Yeah.
me was that it's trying to give me information from its own training, and it's always wrong because the
Yeah.
training is bad. And so I said, "You're just a conduit. You go and get articles and quotes for me, and you give me the quote with a link, and
Mm,
then maybe you do a little. Okay, we can put them together a little bit, but I'm only interested in the primary information, and that's
mm.
a lot more helpful." So,
Reminded it's not an all-knowing being. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. In fact, the prompt, I said, "Now write a
And
prompt for
I
that."
don't want you to flatter me. Stop it.
That is in
Stop it.
my. I
That's
say
not what you do.
that is in my
Nope.
preferences, and it says, "Don't flatter me. It's insincere. You're insincere. You're a machine. You don't have any opinions." Anyway, blah blah blah. But for the classes, if you're interested in that sort of stuff, I'm happy to
I love it.
help.
Yes.
Yeah,
Let's collab. I love
yeah,
it.
cool.
I like working with friends. Let's do more.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And oh yeah, and the environmental effects. Those are bad too. The water. Oh, interesting graphic. This is like this can go on forever because I'm having so much fun talking to you. You're gonna be up until 3 in the morning.
Oh, It's all right.
Oh my gosh, Philip. I saw somebody reporting on a National Resources Environmental NREL, which is governmental office. They did a study and were looking at the reasons that data centers are placed in different locations, and water availability was like 17th on the list of what they were
Yeah.
looking for. So
Yeah.
where communities are talking about water availability, it's not what is like the top thing for these
Mhm, mhm,
data centers to place themselves in certain places. The top things are actually like how close a substation is, or even a
mhm,
retired power generating
mhm,
station.
mhm,
So like
mhm,
old coal generators, that all those places actually are not completely offline because they're part of the grid. There is
mm.
still active power being transferred through these places very often
Huh,
because they are like a part of the system. Even though they're not burning coal
right.
anymore, they're not actually not part of the
Mhm,
infrastructure.
mhm,
And
mhm,
so
mhm.
they could be spooled back up very quickly.
Yeah. Great.
Or I know, right? I mean,
That's
that's
what
one
we
of the
need.
things I was like,
Old Hickory, fire it up.
"What?" Of course, right? Just bum, 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 bum. Rolling coal. There we go.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but at the same time, they could also be repurposed and maybe
Mm,
turned into, if we actually get it going. I mean, I would love it. Like nuclear fusion plants,
mhm.
like that
Oh,
would be
fusion. Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Take over fission. No, fusion. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, right, isn't it?
Well, we haven't really
We
solved
haven't done
fusion
it
yet.
yet, but
Yeah. Get
if
closer,
we
we
were
get
to,
closer.
we're not there. Nobody's done it yet.
Right.
But like, we've got Eater and NIF and all these other
Mm,
places, and we've got companies like Zap Energy and others that are
mm,
trying to do different levels of fusion.
mm,
And we're not there. Not quite
mm.
there. But if we could get there,
Oh, yeah.
it'd be great, right? And so the data centers, they're wanting to center themselves in these places that are close to tech hubs, close to power.
Mhm,
I mean, power is the big thing, being
mhm,
close to power.
mhm,
Um, it's interesting though, because the way the message was like, "Oh, look, they're not even worried about water. It's number 17 on their list." But that's undermining how important water is to communities. And
mhm,
so I feel like there's this communication struggle right now
mhm,
of what the energy people want people to think so that data centers can be placed versus how we should be talking to communities to protect water supplies and
mhm,
resources and energy bills.
mhm,
Like,
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I would say
anyway,
another part of what they're looking for is, yeah, local, nearby power, access to the power grid, et cetera, and a docile citizenry, frankly.
I don't think that was on the list, but that's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, that's on Sam Altman's list.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh gosh. All
All
right,
right.
everybody. Um, let's see. Master user, you asked about Justin. Justin is still working. He's
Uh,
doing genomics research
oh, wow.
somewhere out in the Central Valley. He got a
Oh,
job. That's why he's not doing the show, because he
yeah,
actually has a night job. So our timing makes it not work for him right
yeah.
now, unfortunately. How close am I to all prereqs and university degrees am I? I don't even know what that question means. I'm just gonna move past that. Yeah, Atlantis, it's underwater. Everybody, it's time for bed. It's time for bed.
Atlantis is like the equivalent of, on a podcast, Atlantis is like the equivalent of Macbeth in the theater.
Yeah, you
Once it's
there.
once it's
Ugh.
said, yeah, that's it.
Lights
So,
out. Curtains. It's curtains.
thank you. That's our show. Well, please give my best to both Justin and Blair.
I will.
I remember when I saw you
For
guys
sure.
in New York, I think Blair was just about to get married.
She's married.
And
She has a
yeah,
child.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've seen
Yeah.
all that happen. But yeah, I just remember that they were about to get married.
Yeah. Have I closed out any more prerequisites? I don't even. Are you insulting me? I think he's insulting me. Or it's a joke. Maybe it's a joke.
The joke.
I hope it's a joke.
See, you need to
Nighty
use
night, everybody.
You need to use emojis like Pepsi Cola knows how to do to make sure we know. Yeah.
Nighty night. All right, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Kiki. Thank you, chat.
Thank you. Everybody. I have a couple. That's right. I just need more. Just wondering how many more degrees I'm going to get. Yeah,
Oh
it
my
might
God.
be. I'm a life student, a student of life. I
Yeah.
hope you are too. I mean, that's why that's what we're doing here, right?
I'm a student of life, but I don't do my homework. So I'm really not the best at it.
Oh, come on. Keep going.
Keep going.
This was fun. Yeah. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. You all are great. Thanks for being here. Philip again.
Thank you, Kiki.
Thank you. Say goodnight, Philip.
Good night, Philip.
And then you say goodnight, Kiki.
Oh, say good night, Kiki.
Good night, Kiki. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay curious. And of course, stay lucky. Good night. We'll see you next week.